and gentlemen, let's go. Let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
The Zone is presented by Guaranteed Foods, delivering all-natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco for now. Dylan Michaels heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours we've got you. A lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. We'll talk a lot of Chiefs today because that's what we have on the docket for some of the guests we have. We'll talk with Craig Stout, KC Sports Network, kcsn.substack.com. Craig Stout will be our guest at 11 o'clock. KC Laboratory Podcast. He's got a story out that he put out this morning. The trade value of one L'Jarius Sneed. And he takes a historical look at cornerbacks that have been traded since 2011, since the new CBA, and then looks at cornerbacks that weren't traded with other players because that sort of starts to muck up the whole deal, trying to get apples to apples of what the Chiefs may be doing with L'Jarius Sneed at the franchise tag. There are very few, honestly, players that fall into the category of just player for draft pick cornerback since 2011. So we'll get into that with Craig Stout, some other things as well with the Chiefs, like Dave Merritt interviewing with the San Francisco 49ers for his their DC job.
Don't you dare.
Pretty sure he still has kids in high school.
I sure thought so.
Did they graduate early? Is his kid Doogie Howser? Hey, yo, Doug.
There's a is
I mean,
it too late to get them to adopt?
Pretty sure Dawson is still playing and is a highly rated. I'm just saying. I hope that Dave Merritt is incredibly successful in his career in a few years as a defensive coordinator somewhere or taking over as the Chiefs DC here in KC. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
I'd be
Just
perfectly
wait
fine with that.
8, 9, 10 years for Spags to retire, then that job is yours.
I know, right? Have some more kids. Come on.
Hey, wait 6 or 7 more months. Andy Reid retires. Steve Spagnuolo is the new head coach. Dave Merritt, DC. Boom.
I mean,
I was reading Pro Football Talk before I came in.
If you take the approach of Tyreek Hill, you'd never leave.
Exactly.
You'd always have kids in school here. All right, 913-912-4810 is the text line. We'll talk to Craig Stout. Ryan Tracy will be our guest coming up at noon. Get some draft talk with him, some prospect talk, some Chiefs talk as well with Ryan Tracy coming up at noon. Sports or Leisure at 1 o'clock to wrap things up here in the show. 913-912-4810. The text line to be part of the show, part of the conversation. I want to start with the Arrowhead Stadium, and it sort of goes hand in hand with the timing of the NFLPA report card that came out yesterday. And we were on the air trying to figure some of these things out. Let me just say that yesterday, trying to figure out what the timing of this was, and as I had said yesterday, that, okay, if this was done in March of 2023, because it was done in March of 2022 to release in 2023, and when it comes out and they're already doing the survey for the next year, how much can you expect there to change to be made? Mm-hmm. Well, detail in this, seeing this after the show, because you get to go back and read everything. Yeah. The survey was administered from August 26th to November 16th of 2023.
Interesting.
So that is a horse of a different color. It meant that the Chiefs had, from when the report was released in March until August, to make some changes, which is how they talked about it, including the chairs with backs on the seats instead of just the stool. I was getting confused as to how they would include some of the changes that were made if those changes hadn't had an opportunity to be implemented. So it's smart that this survey was done August to November. That's probably the best time to do that, because now you release it in March, and you've got March, April, May, June, July, and it goes till November 16th. So you even have a couple of months into the season before you have to submit the survey. And over 1,700 players across the NFL submitted a survey. It does not say, and it does not break down team by team, in the surveys with the NFLPA. We'll get into some of those things, but I think it does tie in to a degree of what was going on yesterday with the announcement and the press conference and the renderings of the renovated Arrowhead Stadium, which has been a resounding excitement across the Kansas City area. People are excited. They're pumped. There's a canopy. There's a bridge from the Independence Center that you can walk.
My fan zone's been activated. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, there's a lot of activation going on in the zone.
I am very activated.
We have been active in the zone for a while, and we are the activation zone, which is one of the great corporate taglines. Just activation zone.
Fans can come here and they can get activated in this zone.
This zone, you can
whatever that means.
It's an activation zone. You guys aren't active over there. Get the hell over there and activate. Can I activate right here? No. The zone is over there to activate.
That's the activation zone.
Yeah, you can't activate right now. If you aren't activated, you can't activate until you get inside those confines right there. Nope. Step onto the. Nope. Sorry, Moonlight Graham. You actually have to step across the rocks.
That's right.
Now you're activated.
Right.
Now you can.
Someone's going to choke on a hot dog in the fan activation zone, and all of a sudden, man, the ghosts are going away.
Oh my gosh, you can't go back to non-activated, can you?
You can never.
You can't go.
Once you've been activated, you cannot go back.
Son, if I'd never been activated for a minute, now that would have been a tragedy. I better be getting back to my tailgate. Before Alicia begins to think that I got a girlfriend.
That's so good.
So they got that going for them, which is nice.
This is really nice.
So they had the press conference going on yesterday, and there's a few things that we talked about yesterday in terms of the renovations and things like that, because it was very underwhelming. There wasn't a whole lot there. It didn't look like the average fan would see a whole lot of improvement. You can walk back, and there's some heated areas in the upper level, et cetera, et cetera. There are more suites. There's the in-zone club level. It looks like they're adding some sideline suites. So, people that have a lot of money that won't see an impact on the taxes anyway, let's be honest, will be the ones that will most benefit from this. And I think it misses a lot of different points in this whole thing. I want to play clip number 6 with Mark Donovan, if we can, because I think this ties into both the stadium and also the NFLPA. I think it's a combination of those things. Here's Mark Donovan talking about, when this whole thing was coming up and, the Royals wanted to move, and this has been an issue that's been going on for a couple of years. We knew the Royals wanted to move downtown. There's no doubt that they have had preliminary conversations for a while with the Chiefs of trying to break the lease and seeing what deal they can come up with to try to extend the 3/8 cent tax and make sure the Chiefs are taken care of. So in that time, Mark Donovan talking about he and Clark Hunt, when they're at different stadiums, taking a look around and seeing what they have.
Clark and I and other members of our senior team for the last 5 years, every single time we go to an away game, we spend some time in the stadiums looking at what they've done, looking at how they've done it. What can we learn from that? What can we take from that? What do we not want to do that they've done? And we have the good fortune of playing in Los Angeles twice a year to play the Chargers at SoFi Stadium and in Vegas to play the Raiders, in addition to getting another visit in February. When you're in those stadiums and you're talking about, should we build a new stadium? Should we renovate Arrowhead? It's very easy to get jealous. And the jealousy comes from, could we actually do this? Could we do it in a new building? Could we do it at Arrowhead? One of the things that has me most excited about this entire project is that you sit on that field level of Allegiant Stadium and you look at that amazing end zone suite that they have, and you say, wow, too bad we can't do that. We found a way to do that. And not only are we bringing the best of the newest buildings in the NFL, but we're putting it inside the iconic Arrowhead Stadium. So as Clark said, we're keeping the spirit of this building and everything that makes it special, but we're bringing the very best of the best into the building.
So a couple of things with that. He talked about two stadiums specifically. They go to different places. They can learn from those places. What can we do better? What do we need? There's jealousy that starts to come over you when you see this beautiful, shiny new building that they're in. What do SoFi and Allegiant Stadium have in common? Besides having teams play there that in the AFC don't win. Besides that, the obvious ones. Besides new coaches shuffling through there.
Mm-hmm. Not beating the Chiefs.
Not beating the Chiefs. The funny stuff that goes along with it. Besides those things.
Barely being actually able to afford the stadium.
That's certainly part of it. Cost.
Are they the two most expensive stadiums? Is Jerry World still up there?
That I don't know. The price tag is not something I was thinking of. It goes in line with something we were talking about yesterday. If you're inside SoFi and Allegiant Stadium, Mark Donovan is telling us that they looked around and the Rice said, oh my God, how amazing would it be to put an end zone suite there?
Yeah.
And didn't look up. You never looked up one time?
He said they see things at stadiums they didn't want to do. He looked up and he was like, I can't see the sun. I don't like it.
Well, what the hell, man?
It's raining up there, dry down here. Don't like it.
Clark, our halftime entertainment of looking at clouds and picking out what the shapes they are. Ooh, that's a giraffe over there. I wanted the giraffe, Clark.
Can't see the flyover, Clark. I don't like it.
How are we supposed to see a flyover if there's a roof? What if we flew drones over? Shut up, Mark. Tired of your BS and your lip.
Hard to launch fireworks indoors.
They looked around and saw oh, good God, look at that end zone suite. Do you see those people standing around holding cups in their hand?
It is so weird that that's the thing.
They are standing at a high table.
Look at them.
Sometimes they'll sit down. Look at them conversing.
God, I bet they have so much money.
They're mingling amongst
Not as much
each
money
other.
as you, Clark, of course, but...
There's a game going on, and they're sort of half paying attention. That's cool, man.
Do you think they get chairs with seat backs, or are they just stools in there? What if the Chiefs play too long? Are they going to be able to actually do these renovations?
Chiefs went around. Look at those seat backs.
Whoa,
you see those seat backs in those suites right there?
They can lean.
My God.
Not fall off the back.
God,
what?
can you imagine if we had a suite?
Clark, have you seen this?
Can you imagine the Arrowhead experience? The one thing that people always talk about with going to Arrowhead, what it misses. If I had more Arrowhead suite and less Chiefs guy in the end zone with the backwards visor and the sport coat Arrowhead thing.
You know what I hated?
I'm lying. I want more of that guy. Don't take that guy's seat away.
You know what I hated? When Eric Fisher went up to the end zone and took beers out of the stands and dunked them on himself in a moment of pure spectacle. I want that to never be able to happen again.
Do you remember what play that was?
You know what it was called? The play call?
No. Which play and which game that was? Where
I don't know
Eric
what
Fisher,
game it was. Was it against the Chargers or Raiders?
No, it was the Houston Texans divisional round playoff game.
Holy bleep, was it really?
And I can't remember. It
Blake
might.
Bell
I was going to say
touchdown.
I was going to guess it was Blake Bell's touchdown
Bell.
that put him at 48 points. I was going to guess
that
Blake
rules.
Bell's touchdown.
Because you can get away with that. There's no chance that's going to come back to bite you.
You're up 48-24 at that point.
Have a beer.
So it was two of them.
Two.
He took two
Have
of them.
two
and poured-
beers.
Yeah. Now, if he gets there, he would take like a clear solo cup.
Yeah,
And pour it on his head.
Like
He
he'd throw a lime wedge into his ear hole.
He would
Be
take
a
the
vodka
small
soda.
Yes.
take the small straw out before he dumps it up.
Eric Fisher poked himself in the eye with a tiny cocktail straw.
Do you have a lime? Is there a lime lemon here?
They go, let me shake it out of my...
He would walk over there. Instead of dumping the beers on his head, he would go over and actually sip out of the straw.
That's pretty good. That is a dainty little celebration.
And then he hands it back. Ooh, is that a wine? Bartles and James. Give me that one right there. Ooh, cheese block.
Do you think maybe what actually happened is that Mark Donovan walked out into those stadiums and he looked around and he looked up at the ceiling, up at the roof there, and he went, man, Clark, this is sweet. And Clark was like, great idea. Yes, sweet.
S-U-I-T-E. You're damn right it is.
No, I mean, like, their practice facilities are great, and, like, look at the roof they have. It doesn't rain inside.
But honestly, like when he
They
was
could probably
talking
have
about,
Super Bowls here.
we went to Allegiant twice this year. Yes. And that's a beautiful roof that's there.
Yeah.
Like there's no part of it was, because again, if you're spending $800 million, is it going to cost another $800 million to put a roof on that? I have no idea. Like I'm asking you, Josh. You're the one that's worked in construction for a long time.
Exactly. I have a significant input on that. Well, what we looked at from the original rolling roof that Make was pulling up yesterday, it was like $800 and some million in total, and then an extra like $170 for the roof.
Yeah.
Which feels and still incredibly low in the grand scheme of that cost.
And that 170 was rolling between Kaufman and Arrowhead.
That was a double stadium roof at that point.
This is just one to go on Arrowhead.
Yeah.
That doesn't even have to be fully encased to where, well, I guess if you want to host like a Final Four, you're going to have that weatherized and controlled. It can't be to where it's like you just put like a canopy over it. Like, you don't want to do that. There's actually a guy in midfield instead of raising the flag. They're just over there pulling the canopy.
I feel like that's
Hold
fun.
on.
We can make that
It's
work.
the guys that pull up the field goal net.
Yes.
Are the same ones that are opening the canopy on the top.
One other thing about SoFi that's interesting is that it was also entirely privately funded.
Oh, was it? Oh.
By who? By who, Josh? Was it the Spanos family?
Let me double check here. Hold on. Dylan, I don't think it was the Spanos family.
You're getting very cranky over there.
Any other guesses? A little bit of a crunky old man?
Yes.
What? Stop being all crunky over there.
It's like a $5 billion stadium, but it didn't cost California taxpayers anything. So if you want to put suites in Arrowhead, that's great, Clark. You can do it. You can do it for a fifth of that cost.
They would have voted no. Any more taxes there? They don't have any money.
It's all gone. It's amazing that
You guys
an
raise your
NFL
taxes
owner
again.
Amazing that an NFL owner was able to find the money in the couch cushions.
That's right. But that's the first thing I thought of was you didn't look up and see a roof at all.
That's interesting.
At no part. That's what you saw because the end zone club suite thing he does not entice me whatsoever.
It means because
I think it makes
you'll never be there.
Well, and I think it makes it look worse. I've never liked the looking at a team that's going into the I think of Miami and think perfect spot for them. That's a great thing for them because in Miami you're sort of out in the elements, enjoying yourself. Right? I mean, that's kind of the lifestyle. That's what I would think. Maybe I'm wrong for Dolphins games. I don't think Dolphins games are like the hardcore, in-your-face football fans. This is what we do. Sunday, it's tailgating. Our entire day, whether it's Sunday or Thursday or Monday, is about the Chiefs. We're going there. We're going to have a blast. We're going to tailgate before. We're going to go to the game. We're going to party afterwards, and it's going to be an all-day event, which is why you don't need all the development around the area to keep the Chiefs at that spot. It's because it is in itself a party. There have been a lot of people that have been activated throughout the years that have been tailgating
Very
there.
true.
I just feel it makes you look a little cheese and wine crowd, and I don't know. That's just not the. It's not the Arrowhead I think of, is to look at the sideline and see like big seats where people are sort of cushy and lounge chairs, and then look in the end zone and see the same thing with some high tables and people just standing around and a lot of space that's not being utilized for fans that could be sitting there. Because there are some hardcore fans that sit in the end zone. And there are some hardcore fans that are losing their seats. When this gets done, there are people that have had in-zone seats for a long time, and you know how long they have had to have seats to eventually move up and up and up to get those front 3 or 4 rows to be there. And you're saying to them, sorry, you've got to move somewhere else.
We're going to be able to charge more money, and we'll just kick you back a few rows.
Where are you gonna move them?
You said it makes you look like a wine and cheese crowd. I was thinking about the other cheese crowd. Lambeau Leap doesn't work into investment bankers. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It is so bizarre to me to talk about like the soul of Arrowhead and all of those things while having this be the kind of upgrade you're talking about. Putting heaters in around the upper concourse is good for large numbers of fans during freezing cold games.
That'll help.
Coming up with ways to expedite concessions and modernize some of those things. It's going to benefit. Let's say
But not for 800 million.
50,000 people at a game. If 50,000 of your people are benefiting from a thing, I think it's probably a pretty good investment. $800 million, where is that going? You could get a lot of concession stand upgrades for a lot less than that.
How much of the $800 million is going to the average fan? Like, honestly, how much of the
It's a fabulous question.
of the $800 million goes to the average fan that's going to be out there that isn't already tailgating and enjoying themselves? Like, adding to the experience of game day, it's not like there hasn't been some sort of activity or things to do before the game. It's one of the things we're most known for, is doing things before the game. There doesn't need to be inorganic entertainment that's there. Everything has sort of grown organically over the years of tailgating, and so $800 million, I don't need a walking bridge from the Independence Center. I don't need, well, my son might will really enjoy the football field
Well,
that would
right,
be out
but
there. That's the thing. That entertainment would certainly work. It would help, it would
Organic
be
and
good for-
inorganic are fabulous words for this, because if you want to do things for the tailgate experience that will provide more organic opportunities for more fans to enjoy that, or we're making fun of the phrasing because it's super corpo, but if your fan activation zone actually means field for the kids to run on and throw the football around while you tailgate, having some maybe some extra restroom facilities that aren't completely blue and plastic. I don't know if you want to install actual facilities that way, or maybe it's just upping your porta potty game, whatever it is. If you want to accentuate that process, fabulous. Would not cost you nearly as much as we're hearing right now. I don't know. I love more green spaces. I think that's a great part of the downtown baseball look. I don't fully understand what they're doing in the parking lot renderings that we saw.
the trees
Just
and
kinda
shrubs
like
and everything.
random trees and shrubs, like you would just see.
It's just adding color. It's just for the renderings.
It may never be there. Who knows?
No, I mean, how much money are you going to spend on planting trees in a parking lot?
It's
Like, what's the point?
weird. It feels like any little like kind of strip mall area. Like, well, we have a little barrier here so these cars don't cross over. We'll put trees there so it'll look nice.
Like, I've never looked at a picture of, the broadcast coming into Arrowhead Stadium and showing all the tailgating and go, man, that's sort of a monotone. That's only that's a one note color there.
Yeah.
Do they have any like shrubbage or anything? Some green? Like, can you get a bush or a few there? Come on. I mean, there's bush lights everywhere. But can I get
everywhere.
Can I get some shrubs? Can I get a tree?
And again, like, who is that serving? Like, what is the point of that? Again,
For aesthetics, and I'm not paying $800 million for aesthetics.
And if they wanted to have Arrowhead Park somewhere off to the edge of the parking lot, that's again another place. You put a playground over there so the kids have something to do if you get bored during the tailgate or whatever. Something that is in some way functional, and ideally functional more than 10 days a year for the people in your city. That's another spot where, like, I think the Royals end up having some better arguments than the Chiefs have, which is that stadium's going to get used 81 times a year in Kansas City. This one, we're talking about 8+ playoff games, and I'm having a hard time seeing where that money's going and seeing where you're going to be getting a return on that investment.
Really, the only thing they could put there is just tent space for massive gatherings, like if you have like a party or you want to like rent out, say, a certain amount of square footage of that grass plot. That's really all you can do with that. And for
Get
the
married
trees,
at Arrowhead Stadium. There you go.
Yeah.
Right. You rent that out. Get a party venue.
exactly, and they could supply it. It could be part of their package as something as well. But that's about it. And like Cowboys, like Jerry Jones, or it's called like Cowboy Park or something. It's just like a giant strip of statues and different like monuments, like kind of talking about the history of the team. It's just not like a bunch of trees and grass, basically.
Yeah, I also expected there to be more of something like that. We were talking about it a little bit before everything yesterday, and it was like, well, maybe they have some way to build on the mystique. And what I feel like we're hearing is that, hey, for $800 million, we'll put in some space heaters and some suites down at field level that's going to be worse for most fans and a little worse on TV, but better for the people who are going to spend the most money, and really usually like companies and stuff that are going to have that. I don't know. It feels a little soulless to me for a whole lot of money.
We'll take a time out. On the other side, I do want to talk about the tie-in with the NFLPA survey, with what we heard from Mark Donovan and going around other stadiums. Because my first reaction in going around other stadiums and hearing that was, you went to SoFi, you went to Allegiant, you never looked up and saw the roof and thought, man, that'd be awesome to put that thing on top of Arrowhead Stadium. But also when you read the NFLPA stuff, you go, when you're going to these stadiums, you ever check out the training rooms? You ever check out the facilities? You ever check out the locker rooms? You ever check out the practice facilities? You ever check out the athletic training facilities? You ever check out those things while you're there? Or is it just you can't take your eyes off the cool end zone suite, which kind of have an idea of what the answer to that is. No.
You can keep talking, Jason. People can't. You're the only one. I'll sing it, Dylan. It's fine.
11 o'clock, we'll talk with Craig Stout. Noon, Ryan Tracy. 1 o'clock, Sports or Leisure. You know, we talked a little bit about as we went to break the NFLPA. The survey that was out. And one of the things that I was wondering about, the timing, and I gave more of a benefit of the doubt yesterday because I didn't know when the timing of the survey took place, but there's less of a benefit of doubt with this. What I find most interesting is some of the places where they've declined from 1 year to the next when they've actually made improvements to those. But also, to me, it's let's look at this. Clark Hunt got an F-. Where can he spend more money? If this is Clark Hunt pinching pennies, where does the money go to spend to make your team better, right? So I thought this was interesting. The treatment of families. Last year, so the treatment of families this year, they got a D+.
Which was shockingly high around the average of the rest of the NFL, right?
Yeah, they were 18th. Do you remember what the I remember. I mean, how could you remember? I mean, I looked it up this morning. Any guesses to what their grade was last year in treatment of families?
I felt like it was not great last year because there was like no family room or something like that. But I don't think it was that. I would say like a C-.
C-. They actually, treatment of families last year got a B.
Oh, interesting.
12th in the NFL.
Huh.
The complaint was that they didn't offer daycare.
Okay. They had that?
They have a D+ this year. They dropped to 18th. They provide daycare now, but it's across the street on game day. They provide a family room at the stadium. Last year, they were one of 11 teams that did not provide daycare. So they got this. They decided to provide daycare for the families. It's across the street on game day. Number of players want daycare to be offered on site, like most NFL teams, which would make it much more convenient for the families. I would agree.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of having daycare off site when daycare could probably just be at your house? Right. If your family wants to go, like if your wife wants to go to the game and there's a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, 4, whatever it is, and it's like, well, we're going to drop them off at daycare. Well, I'm just driving to the stadium and back with a bunch of people that might have been drinking for no reason. Because it's not like the kid can then be hanging out and then you go and get them and you hang out with daddy in the locker room and go out to the field, play some catch, like enjoy yourself with the family after daddy's done with work. Things like that. Mm-hmm. But it is interesting. They provided a daycare and then they dropped.
It got worse, yeah.
Because really, like it seems like that's pretty minimalistic. We'll provide a daycare. I just want to know where it's located.
Yeah.
Because they provided daycare across the street on game day. What street around?
Okay, I was thinking the same
Truman
thing.
Sports Complex is there a daycare?
Is it at Kaufman? If they do it, if they open up Kaufman.
It might, if they open up Kaufman, they wouldn't have to drive off site.
Yeah.
Then they could walk over and grab the kid and then head back over.
There's
That's
something
right.
there, I guess.
If it was at Taco Bell, that would be less convenient.
Yeah, and if it was any other building, it would be not across the street.
What's the place that's like the swimming park in the hotel?
Like Great Wolf Lodge.
Like it's great, but it's across.
Legends.
But they got one like right there, right? Isn't there like the hotel that's got like a slide coming out or whatever?
I actually don't know.
Anyway, like maybe that's where it is, but
it's across the street. The street is state line. It's actually in Kansas.
That's right.
It is a Great Wolf Lodge.
But it is funny. Like you want daycare, fine. We'll get you daycare. We'll provide that. You're gonna need to go to that gas station. I'm gonna need you to walk in, knock 3 times. The code word is "The crow flies at midnight." You then walk down the stairs, take a right. You're going to have to go down a slide. The kids are going to love that.
That's great.
Then drop the kids off. Now, you are going to have to do the fireman's pole up.
Yeah,
that's going to be tough.
That's
going to be tough.
But
that's the only way to get out if you want to go back to the... you wanted daycare, we got you daycare. I mean, what do you guys want?
And by daycare, we do mean that we have them actually just stocking the shelves at the gas station, but they love it. They're having a great time. It's very fun. You see that Willy Wonka thing that's going around right now? That Willy Wonka place that definitely was oversold with AI images and everything? That's the Chiefs daycare.
The kids are restocking Aramark in the stadium.
Yes, that's right. Yes, they are. They're in the stadium, and think about how much those kids are going to benefit from the new heaters in the upper concourse area.
They're the bar back. They're going and grabbing ice to pour in. Gotcha. All right. Oh, your fingers hurt, huh? Now your back's going to hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty.
That's funny, Bronze. I thought somebody named after a metal would be a little stronger.
You understand we're putting trees out there in the parking lot. Yeah, that concrete's going to have to be brought up somehow. Go grab a shovel now.
Everybody go get a shovel.
Anybody else not want to reload the hot dogs? Anybody else mad about reloading the hot dogs? You get the hell out.
If you're going to cry like a baby. Oh.
Anybody that poops their diaper in there is going out to plant those trees. Anybody else want to speak up? Huh?
We got play school shovels over there and burn treatment over here if you do touch the hot dog roller by accident.
Play school shovels and Tonka trucks.
Yeah, we're excavating. You want to bring this? Hey, listen, Clark's not paying a nickel more than $300 million. You know who's taking care of the demolition of Kauffman Stadium? You little punks.
Hey, Noah? I couldn't help but notice with your Tonka truck that you just moved rocks from there to here. How does that help us? You explain how that is going to help us. Those rocks, it doesn't matter. I need you to get below the surface.
Do you want us to trade your dad to the Packers? You can go cry in Green Bay if you want.
Larson, come here. Can you come over here and show Noah how it's done? Jackson? Tired of your lip?
We need a mini Eric Bieniemy around here. Not Eric Bieniemy's child. We need a miniature Eric Bieniemy.
I'll tell you what.
You better drag your ass across that finish line, kid.
That Zachariah is one hell of a stalker. He is a heck of a restocker.
Brandon, Brendan, and Brondon, get over here.
And I'll say this. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, those shelves are restocked.
You know, it's time to take the diapers off. Nope, not you, actually. not you.
But you do need to go to work.
We get working, but keep the diaper on, actually. I just realized what bad advice that was.
You got about 4 hours. Let's get some stuff done, okay? You work, are you kidding me, kid? You work 8 dates a year. 8. 8 times. That's all. And I got to hear your lip?
Can't believe all this was in the NFLPA report.
They got really specific on some of these things in the surveys.
So many exact quotes from toddlers. I don't know how they can verify those, but they did.
So other places that they got worse.
Oh, yeah.
Strength coaches. They ranked 27th. A C+. Last year they had an A-.
That's very weird.
Very weird.
Did someone retire last?
They went from 94%, so the strength coaches, because they added a few more categories this year from last year. That's one of the things that I saw. Last year, players felt like 94% of the players that responded to the survey felt like there was an individual plan for them. That's now 76%. So it dropped almost 20%. From one year to the next of feeling like there's an individual plan in the strength coaches from last year to this year.
Barry Rubin did retire last March. I forgot. I'm double checking on that. He'd been the strength and conditioning coach for 10 years.
Dropped 20% from last year to this year. Training staff, 32nd last year, 32nd this year. They went from a D- to an F. Team travel was an F last year at 28th. It's now 27th and a D. So they moved up one spot and one letter grade. Last year, 59% of the survey respondents, those players, felt like there was enough space on the plane. 59%. This time around, it was 83%. And they did talk about they were getting a bigger plane. They were getting the complaint last year and this year is roommates on the road for rookies.
Right.
Here's a couple of points with this. They didn't have head coach last year. They didn't have owner last year. So they have head coach and owner this year. Andy was an A. Clark Hunt was an F-. They also, last year was food and nutrition was one category. This year, it's food and cafeteria is one category, and nutritionist and dietitian is one category.
Interesting.
So they got an F in nutritionist and dietitian. Last year, they got a D plus 18th in food and nutrition, and they complained sometimes there wasn't enough food, but they were offered 3 meals a day. Like there were some teams that didn't offer food at all,
right.
Or 1 meal a day, and then on off days there was no food, or you had to provide your own, whatever it might be. But the nutritionist is 31st. Here's where there are some things that it's like, okay, what can be changed, and then where does Clark Hunt come in? The training staff and the complaints last year to this year about the head trainer, that's Andy's guy.
Yeah.
He ain't going anywhere until he retires. So they can complain about Rick Burkholder all they want. Andy Reid got an A. But Andy Reid's guy is one of the biggest complaints that they have.
In addition to the larger issues of not having enough training staff below him and all that. But Burkholder's name came up a lot last year especially.
Which is where Clark Hunt comes in.
Right.
Because if you're talking about spending money, to me, I understand the players want a nicer practice facility locker room. And they're talking about renovating that. And Mark Donovan said something like $2 million they're going to invest in redoing that. Okay. Well, that's probably from last year's complaints. That, okay, let's get them some chairs now, and now we need to figure out how we're going to renovate this thing to make it better for the players. I mean, we're winning Super Bowls, and we got Swifties now. Let's go ahead and spend some of this money. But if you're out at other stadiums and you're looking at the end zone suites, look at the training room. Look at the locker room. Ask around to the nutritionist, because if you're the Chiefs, hey, Minnesota Vikings, you got an A on your nutritionist. How much?
Right.
How much for you to come work for the Chiefs? How much? Oh, hey, training staff, guys that worked with other, not head. I'm not going to take you from a head trainer and make you work under Rick Burkholder, but the training staff around the league, teams that got an A. How much? What are you guys doing? How much?
How much for your second in command? Who wants a promotion?
Strength coaches. How much? Weight room. That's money being spent, but being spent in places that can have actual impact. It's nice if they want a PS7 in their lockers, right? And I also understand when you've got players like trying to think of draft picks this year. Not Rashee Rice.
Not really.
Trying to think of
But Clyde Edwards-Helaire going from LSU to Kansas City a few years ago was probably whiplash.
Yes, Trent McDuffie going from UW.
Yeah, there you go.
To the Chiefs. It's like, whoa, these facilities are like SEC facilities are ridiculous. You know, Garrett Dieter was talking about like every day at Alabama they'd have like 7 or 8 different masseuses. Massagers?
Messiahs, I think.
Messiahs, okay.
I think it's Messiahs.
They'd have 7 or 8 Messiahs, one main being Nick Saban.
That's right.
Then they'd have 7 or 8 below. But he's like, every day you'd walk in there, and there's 7 or 8 of where you can go get a massage. And he was like, at Arrowhead, it was 1. He was talking about is it a cryogenic chamber?
Yeah.
Or whatever?
Yeah.
That when he hurt his back with the Chiefs, he was told that he needed to spend like an hour a day in that. At Bama, they have those. But with the Chiefs, they didn't. He had to go to Kaufman.
No kidding.
Because the Royals had one, so we would walk over to Kaufman or maybe take a golf cart. I don't know.
Right, sure.
It wouldn't be smart to make him walk. But with the training staff and the nutritionist and the strength coach and everything, they might have actually made him walk. I don't know. Jog.
Stretch it out on the way over there. Hop in the chamber.
Not sure.
I'm looking at SMU's locker rooms, by the way, right now. These, I guess, these are probably their main locker rooms.
I bet Kansas State has some pretty nice.
These are nicer than the Chiefs' practice locker rooms for sure. And those are the ones they spend most of their days.
I bet Kansas State has some pretty nice threads.
That's so too.
Around there for FAU and things like that, and guys that are coming in to the league, and so, like, those things, I get it. I understand where extra room on a plane. Okay, roommates on the road. Okay, whatever. They also complain about being in St. Joe, and having to stay in the dorms.
But there's a logic to that. Andy Reid has a logic to that.
There might be a logic with Andy Reid on the roommates on the road with rookies. I don't know. Maybe it's to keep your head on straight.
But if Wanya Morris snores and Rashee Rice isn't rested on Sunday, we have trouble now.
But it's like, okay, you got a lot of money
Sorry
now.
for picking the lineman, saying that maybe the lineman. I just picked the first 2 I could think of.
Saying he's got sleep apnea?
No, I'm not. I don't know that.
You don't know that.
Sorry.
But I'm just guessing here. I have no idea. It just popped into my head with maybe the thought process is you got guys who are 22, 23 years old and have more money than they've ever had in their life, and now you're on the road at a different city and you can go out and do, hey, you know what? Keep track of each other.
Yes.
You know, challenge the other person. Because, you know, if I'm by myself, I can sneak out here and then come back. Like, all right, are you ready to go? I know if you were here or not. You know if I was here. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
There's
Could be. There's rhyme or reason to St. Joe. We know that. But these are fixes that you can write a check for. And the actual parts of the nutrition, strength coaches, training staff, weight room, those are the things that I care about Clark Hunt spending the money. Cool. Get them nicer chairs. Chairs. I mean, we have chairs with backs on them.
Right, and
here.
And if we had stools here where we spend 4 hours every day in these chairs, we would be worse at our jobs.
Yeah.
Because
I have to go sit in a cryogenic chamber for that because of my back.
At hour 3, we would be we're just laying on the desk going, you know, guys, I'm running out of energy here.
Like my neck, my back.
There's performance-related stuff here.
That's the part.
Performance-related stuff.
That's the part. The performance-relating stuff. And did they have a room to offer daycare at Arrowhead? Were they maxed out in all their space and, hey, we want to offer daycare. We can't do it here. Let's find another place to do it. Okay, we got to do it across the street. Well, what street? Is it at Kaufman? I mean, is it at Denny's? You know, like there's a Grand Slam over there they can enjoy.
Down the street at the practice facility somewhere? It's not a bigger facility. It's very weird.
Exactly. It could be down there. I have no idea. Like, those are things that, you can make it better in the lives of the players, but how do you make the players better?
Yes.
Is where you should be spending that money. And if the Vikings have the best nutritionist in the NFL, then I'm giving them a call and saying, how much money? And we'll buy out your contract. Whatever it is, how much money? This training staff, you're the best. How much money? You can come work for the Chiefs. Because now you're working with Patrick Mahomes and these other. Kirk Cousins is awesome. You know, Kirkland Cousins, great. You know, but you can work with the Kansas City Chiefs here. And you like rings. You want a ring or 2 or 3? Who knows? That's where the money to me. I don't care about the locker room stuff. I don't. Honestly, I don't care about it. They'll get it fixed. They'll figure it out. It's not going to keep somebody from signing with the Chiefs if you pay them the most money. But I want somebody to have preventative care that feels like they can go to the training staff and say, hey, I got an issue here. And they don't go, sorry, our tables are full. Would you like smoking or non-smoking? Mm-hmm. Because smoking is available right now. Not Josh, you don't have to worry about that. You've never dealt with those things. You've never got there and had to make a decision, a life choice of, do I want to sit down right now at smoking section, or do I want to wait? How long is the wait for non-smoking? First available? Okay. Kids, your lungs are healthy.
You got a few of these. You got 5 or 6. It'll be all right.
You got a lot of secondhand smoke to be able to inhale. You're fine. Sorry, tables here at the training staff are full. We don't have the massage therapist to help you out. Go call Deshaun Watson. Figure those things out. You know, apparently Houston didn't have that either. You know, there. Actually, I do want to check and see if the Texans where they came in with the training staff. And
at this point, it should be straight A's for Houston.
No doubt
They should
about
have their
that.
stuff figured out.
No doubt about that. That's where Clark Hunt needs to spend the money if he's going to. That's the main thing. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Continue rolling. What's on next? coming in. Tex says, talking about the daycare, you mentioned Jackson.
Yeah.
Is Mahomes taking his brother to the daycare?
Yeah. I heard you going through names and like that's not anybody. That's not anybody. I knew that you didn't mean it, but I think the phrase you said was, Jackson, I'm tired of your lip. And I was like, I know Jason wasn't doing that for a grown-up little brother of a player, but I heard it. And unfortunately, so did the texters.
Tex says, do we know what percentage of Chiefs players respond to the NFLPA survey? We don't. They don't give out individual teams, just that over 1,700 players responded across the NFL.
77% of the league, I believe that was the percentage I think I saw. Also saw J.J. Watt tweeted this morning, of all of those voting sheets, Pro Bowls, top 100s, a lot of guys throw it in the trash or put down friends' names or make a rookie fill it out. J.J. Watt says the two I've seen taken most seriously, team captains and NFLPA ownership / facility report card.
Interesting.
That guys are actually invested in this, and they should be.
Interesting. I mean, there's a lot of response of, too bad for the players, but...
Yeah, why would you want your employees to be happy?
I don't want the players healthy at all.
The Zone is presented by Guaranteed Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels heading up until 2 o'clock. We've got you 3 more hours. Ryan Tracy, we'll talk with him coming up at noon. Sports or Leisure today, presented by Johnny's Tavern. Let's talk with our man from KC Sports Network, kcsn.substack.com, and the KC Laboratory Podcast. It is Craig Stout joining us here in the Zone on this Thursday. Craig, what's up, my man? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing excellent. I am enjoying the Combine week coverage so far. The Chiefs have blessed us with so much news out of the blue here in the past 24 hours. So it's been fun to kind of follow along and enjoy the offseason again.
Is this your element more than the week-to-week, like following and breaking down what's going on in games and things like? Is your element more the offseason, the draft, or is it that, really the grind of week by week, here's what happened in this game and what can happen moving forward?
I will say during the season, especially towards the end, not necessarily the postseason, I'm obviously in the moment there and enjoying all of that, but towards the end of the regular season, I pine for this time of the year. I love the draft. I love free agency. I love the team and roster construction, elements of everything that happens there. But man, Jason, when we get into July, I am begging for football again. So I'm just kind of ebbs and flows back and forth there.
You are right about that. I love this time of year. Absolutely love it. I love 24/7 football and NFL football. So it just with me, I love the grind of the regular season, and then the season's over, and now we get into building and constructing a team, and then you get into training camp and who's going to start and how you're going to do it and all of those things. I love all of that stuff, and so we are now in the mix of this free agency, and we've got a franchise tag that is reportedly going to be placed on L'Jarius Sneed, while also giving L'Jarius Sneed permission to go seek out a trade. I want to get into your piece at KC Sports Network because it's really fascinating, but I want to ask first and foremost your reaction to the tag and then the report of we're going to place a tag on you. You are free to go seek out a trade.
Yeah, there for a little bit. The idea, it was kind of floated, hey, the Chiefs are going to use the tag on L'Jarius Sneed. I've been saying this kind of all along with how the Chris Jones stuff has gone on. It didn't make a ton of sense for him to be on the tag. I thought that it was either going to be a long-term deal for Chris Jones or he was going to walk in free agency. And so I have kind of been mentally prepared for Jerry Sneed to catch the tag for a little while here, in the hopes that they could work out a long-term deal. The part that really caught me off guard was the fact that everybody's reporting, yes, he's been given permission to seek a trade. Now all of a sudden that's reconfigured my entire kind of how I build this defense, where I want to, prioritize assets within this defense. And frankly, I would be a little sad to see L'Jarius Sneed go. I really love what he does with this defense, the kind of exotic coverages that they're allowed to run with him on there, the blitz packages that they can run both with him as a blitzer and then with him on the back end as a man-to-man coverage guy that can eliminate one-to-one, one-on-one defenders. And I mean, it's one of those that I just look at from a bigger picture, and I know that there's a plan, and we'll see the plan from the Chiefs eventually, but I was frankly a little bit shocked that it came out this soon. Hey, you can go ahead and seek a trade. You can go out and find a better deal if you want to, and we will come back and we will circle back as an organization, because I was really hoping he was here. I was really hoping he was a foundational piece of this defense, and it seems like the two sides are just pretty far apart.
I like that they told him to go seek out a trade. And the reason I like it is not that I don't want L'Jarius Sneed on the team. To me, it's the Chiefs making sure they have all the information. I'll compare it to analytics. You got the analytics that are there that gives you the information and then make a decision. Him going out and finding a trade partner is information. doesn't mean you have to then agree to that trade. It means that, okay, these are the parameters we can work within. They told Tyreek Hill to go seek a trade partner, and he did. They found a couple of different trade partners. They still tried to sign him. It just didn't work. To me, I would rather, if you're going to place a franchise tag on somebody, if I'm the Chiefs, I would rather L'Jarius Sneed go find a trade partner. And also, if he can't get a trade partner, then it limits what he thinks his market is. But if he gets a trade partner, it's like, you know what, it makes more sense for us to move him and get this deal back. I'd rather that than Chris Ballard come out and say Michael Pittman's on the team no matter what next year. There's not a scenario that Michael Pittman will not be on this team. Okay, well, I want $35 million. Okay, you're playing under the franchise tag. Well, man, I wonder if we could have got a first-round draft pick from Michael Pittman. Would that have been smarter? I don't know. We'll never know. You know why? Because you didn't allow him to go and seek a trade. And if L'Jarius Sneed goes and finds a trade and somebody says, we'll give you a first-rounder for him, and he comes back to the Chiefs and says, I want $25 million per year, well, then you got to take the first-rounder. But if it's a second-rounder and we're looking at $20 million per year, well, then you examine everything, you weigh the options and see what's best for your team. I love that they allowed him to do that because at least they would have the information, and L'Jarius Sneed will have the information of what the market thinks of him without actually being allowed to go out on the open market and see what it costs the Chiefs to be able to retain him.
Yeah, from the Chiefs' perspective, it makes all the sense in the world. You need to gauge all this stuff, and we're going to migrate into some of this conversation anyway, so I'll start here.
Yeah.
He's a 27-year-old corner that has been on the injury report for most of the year, has a lingering knee injury, has no real awards, even though I fully believe that he should have been a first-team All-Pro this year, and that's not just my bias. I've heard that from other national media writers that have agreed. It's like it's preposterous that he wasn't in the conversation there. So he is a guy that typically does not go for a lot of money in a big contract, a new contract, or for a serious compensation. And if he and his people are sitting there and telling the Kansas City Chiefs, hey, we want $23, $24 million a year, we need to make this happen right now, it behooves the Chiefs to sit there and say, hey, you go out there, we are going to tag you. We know that we have some form of control with your contract here, and we can keep you for another year, but we're not going to try and hold you hostage. We are going to allow you to go out, much like Tyreek Hill, go out and find out what that offer is, because we are far apart on numbers. We don't necessarily agree with your value on this. See if you can facilitate something here, because we would like you here, and we would like you on a one-year deal on our terms. Brett Veach is very good. The entire organization, I give credit to Brett Veach, but the entire organization is very good at having a line and not crossing it for players. They have done it time and time again. I am certain that they have a line for L'Jarius Sneed that they are not willing to cross. If this gap is so massive that it is not something that can be worked out in negotiations with some give and take between the two sides, then you should try and get what you can for that guy. Because if you franchise tag him, he walks the next year. We talk all the time about the compensatory formula. The Chiefs, they're okay with the compensatory formula, but they don't play that game. They don't intentionally target free agents that aren't going to count against that. They don't do the thing that some other teams do and try and maximize as many compensatory picks as possible. They would rather go out and spend money on a Jawan Taylor. They would rather go out and spend money on players, that are going to help this team in free agency. And so when we talk about letting guys go and getting compensatory picks, the Chiefs are consistently spending in free agency and nullifying those, those third-round compensatory picks. So it's not one of those things that they focus on and that they try and play. So if you can get a pick for L'Jarius Sneed, if you are seeing the future and that this is irreconcilable, you absolutely should try and facilitate a trade for him. Try and get things worked out. Do what's best for the player. Do what's best for the team. It just makes all the sense in the world for the Chiefs to go down this path. I'm just my personal defensive fan heart is a little bit hurt at the thought of him potentially leaving this
Totally
team.
understand. Craig Stout is our guest, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. So at kcsn.substack.com, you got the piece that you put up this morning of the trade value of L'Jarius Sneed. And when I started reading it, first of all, great stuff, because you did the work for me and looking back and some of those things. So I always appreciate that. But looking at this, and I'll just sort of get your thoughts on it. Do you believe, looking at the historical precedent of cornerbacks that are traded for draft picks, can the Chiefs get a second-round pick for L'Jarius Sneed, or is even that asking too much?
Man, it is so tough because here's the thing, Jason. It's a detail in the article. There has not been a cornerback traded for just a straight swap of a second-round pick in the upcoming draft. The only cornerback that has had a second-round pick attached to them in any way, shape, or form is Marcus Peters, and that was a future second, which, when we talk about trading for draft picks, they typically devalue those around so it's closer to a third-round pick or something like that. So this is not one of those things. It would be breaking the mold for NFL teams to trade a second-round pick under the new CBA, under the rookie wage scale CBA, which kind of reconfigured what draft pick value was. And so that's one of those that I look at it, and I feel like that's the sweet spot for L'Jarius Sneed. I really would, if the Chiefs are trading him, give me a second-round pick for him. I know some people want a first. That's just not going to happen. There have only been 2 players since 2011 that have netted a first-round draft pick. One of them was prime Darrelle Revis, and the other one was prime Jalen Ramsey. I love L'Jarius Sneed. He's not those 2 guys. So a second just kind of feels right, but it's not something that the NFL has done historically here. And in a very strong cornerback class. Like, this is one of the strongest cornerback draft classes that we have seen in a long time. I know the wide receivers, the offensive linemen have garnered a lot of headlines. The cornerback class is really, really good. Who is going to offer a second-round pick, again, for a 27-year-old player with a lingering, health issues and been on the injury report all year long, for a guy, instead of trying to invest that in a good cornerback class? So I am, after doing this research, after sitting down and looking at all this, because I also went, hey, second-round pick would be great. Mm-hmm. Doing all this research, I started looking at this, and I went, I don't think that the Chiefs are going to get a second-round draft pick for L'Jarius Sneed. I'm happy to be wrong, but I don't think that it's going to happen.
Yeah, it would be more realistic, like a second-rounder, probably not the case, but could they get like a third-rounder and a player, right? Like a fourth-rounder and somebody that can add depth to the team in some way, shape, or form. So you're getting a couple of draft picks, essentially. You're getting the guy you would get in the trade, and then you're also getting, Alex Smith brought back a third-rounder and Kendall Fuller. They got a couple of players. And Kendall Fuller got him 2 good years and one hell of an interception to cap off the 2019 Super Bowl. So, his last play in a Chiefs uniform was an interception of Jimmy G. So that was fine. I would guess, looking at this, that's probably a more realistic scenario of the Chiefs. If they get better than a third rounder, it might be a third rounder and a player. But I came away reading this less optimistic about L'Jarius Sneed getting a second rounder. So then it turns to, well, if I can't get a second rounder for L'Jarius Sneed, how can I get something worked out for a couple of years? Because you mentioned the knee and the age, and he's 27 years old. And it's a great point about Jalen Ramsey. He was 25 years old when he was traded. So, 25 years old, one of the best cornerbacks, maybe the best cornerback.
With a couple of all-pros to his name.
That's right. That's right. Would it be worth it to pay him, the $21 million per year if that's what he's looking for? And if not, if they end up trading him, how ready in your mind is Joshua Williams and or Jalen Watson to step into that role?
That's the real question there. And I think that kind of also ties in with another bit of news that we kind of heard yesterday, that Dave Merritt is interviewing for the San Francisco 49ers gig. If Dave Merritt's not here, that's one of those that I don't want to shake up that room too much. I have just ultimate faith in what Dave Merritt has done with this team, what he's done with this defensive back room. Like, I like Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson a lot, and we talk about all the time. We give, again, another one that we give Feach a lot of credit for is finding these day 3 corners that are just going to come in and they're going to play at a high level. The reason that they're able to do that is because a guy like Dave Merritt. So if he's not here, I want another veteran in that room that's going to teach these guys how to do things. I want another guiding force. L'Jarius Sneed all of a sudden becomes significantly more important to me. That weighs more. And then I don't think a third-round pick is worth it for me. So I would try and get a couple-year deal done to try and keep him in the mix, try and keep some consistency in that room. He is, a guiding voice. Those guys talk about it all the time. They lean on him. He's the guy that talks. He's the guy that kind of, shapes the way that the room acts alongside Dave Merritt. If Merritt is not here anymore, L'Jarius Sneed becomes more important. However, if this is irreconcilable, if we're talking about, hey, Chiefs want to franchise tag him, L'Jarius Sneed doesn't want a $21 million deal. He wants 23, and this is really a one-year rental, and that's all we're really seeing here. You might see what other teams have done. I highlight in my article, A.J. Boye, Darius Slay. There's lots of guys that are around kind of the same performance level and some injury concerns and things like that L'Jarius Sneed currently has. Those guys went for like a mid-third with a sweetener. Maybe it's a player, maybe it's a pick or something like that. If you're doing that, if Dave Merritt's still in-house, I feel like you can reload in this class. I feel like there's an actual, kind of value here. You get a third and a fifth for L'Jarius Sneed. I'm looking at that fifth-round draft pick, and I'm going, hey, Dave and Brett, I feel really confident that you're going to find a guy in that pick to help rebuild the room and help really kind of make sure that the consistency stays there. So I would do it knowing fully well that you've got two guys in Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson that can go out, can run the scheme. You've still got a blue chip player and Trent McDuffie there as well. But, if you move on from L'Jarius Sneed, I think that also brings into the conversation, you just got to pay Chris Jones, period. You can't be losing two blue chip players in the same offseason here. So it puts a whole set of dominoes into effect there, essentially, if you move on from L'Jarius Sneed. But I think the Dave Merritt thing matters a little bit more than maybe we're than we're expecting here with the way that room is shaped.
That's a great point to combine the two. L'Jarius Sneed on the team or not on the team, and then what happens with Dave Merritt. Is he the 49ers defensive coordinator, or is he starting the process of getting defensive coordinator job interviews for a couple of years when his kids are out of high school, and then he's ready to actually make that jump? I'm hoping it's the latter. We'll see if it's the former. The timeline here is interesting because one of the things that we talked about yesterday on the air was the legal tampering period starts March 11th, which means March 11th at 11 o'clock Central Time is when the Katz brothers can legally start talking with other teams about Chris Jones and how much money that may take to sign him. By franchise tagging L'Jarius Sneed, it means you've got essentially till the draft to figure out something with L'Jarius Sneed on a draft pick. But the timeline is sped up, and so Chris Jones and the Chiefs and his representatives and whatever deal they decide is going to be the best. To me, I know we have jokes about the Katz brothers and how bad they were a year ago. I think this is more about Chris Jones. If Chris Jones is on a different team, it's because Chris Jones wanted more money. If Chris Jones is on the Chiefs, it meant that he took the Chiefs' best offer, which I'll ask you, I think we can agree, the Chiefs' best offer will not be the best offer Chris Jones could get on the open market.
I fully agree with that sentiment. Yes, I fully do. I think that they have that sort of leverage with Chris. They can say, you're not going to get this experience anywhere else. You love it here. You love the players that you are playing with. You love your defensive coordinator. You love your defensive line coach, even though, there's all that stuff during the middle of the season. Those guys get along great. They love each other. This is his defense right now. And if L'Jarius Sneed is gone, it's really his defense. And he's not going to get that elsewhere. And he wants rings. Like, I truly believe that last season he held out thinking the Chiefs were going to come up to his number. They really believed that he was. And then the two sides didn't. They set out 1 week. And, I like that Brett Veach said specifically, I talked to Chris. It wasn't, I talked to the Katz brothers. I talked to his representation. It was, I talked to Chris. We came to an agreement. And we feel good about this season because of the dialogue that we had after week one last year. So that's one of those things that I'm looking at. I think the ball is completely in Chris's court. I think that there's an understanding there. I know that Matt Derrick kind of alluded to the fact that the gap between, what the Chiefs number is and what Chris Jones's number is, it's significantly closer than what the gap is between the Chiefs number and L'Jarius Sneed's number is. And I totally kind of see that playing out. That's why they're giving him the ability to kind of seek a trade. If Chris Jones wants to be in Kansas City, I think the Chiefs are going to make a good offer. This is not a lowball offer. I think it is a really good offer, and good enough to where Chris and his representation are maybe, having some internal dialogue to say, hey, listen, is it going to get better than this? Do we want to try and finish our career somewhere else? Do we want to win a few more rings? We have it. He's got a real legitimate shot at the Hall of Fame, and he probably already has the stats to get in there. There's a lot of guys that don't have his stats that are in there right now. If you want to tell me that he plays in Kansas City for another 3 years at a decent level, not even a great level, at a decent level, he's probably getting another ring. And he's probably padding his postseason stats. And now all of a sudden, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's not getting that elsewhere. He's not getting that with the highest bidder on the open market. So I fully believe that the Chiefs are a good situation from a monetary standpoint and the best situation on the field for Chris. And I think last year and the grass is greener and kind of seeking all that out before the season has helped shape that from both sides, not just Chris, but the Chiefs as well, and the understanding that both sides have. I think that we see a deal done before free agency based on all the smoke and fire that's out there right now about L'Jarius Sneed, about Chris Jones, about what the Chiefs are going to do this offseason. I think he's a Chief, and I think it's a long-term deal.
Craig Stout says Chris Jones will sign a long-term deal before free agency, or he will quit his job. It's an odd.
Hang on. Wait.
Jason, I think if Chris Jones doesn't sign a deal before free agency, I will quit this job.
If Chris Jones doesn't sign a deal before 2:00 today, Josh is out.
I am done.
God, I really hope they announce something at 1:30.
I'll tell you what, I do too, honestly.
Imagine.
I would happily come in tomorrow at least to talk about Chris Jones's deal. That would be easy for me. I'll take that trade.
Craig, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. We'll talk a couple more times before the draft, so we'll start to get into some prospects and things like that as we talk a couple of more times. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it as always, brother.
Hey, thank you. And, hey, Josh, love you, brother.
Craig, thank you. You can still text me even after this. We don't have to just text about getting booked on the show. Well, that's weird. It's weird, actually. My phone just gave me a notification that Craig just blocked my number. I don't even know I could do that.
Yeah,
all right.
No.
Well,
if you block somebody's number, do they know? Oh, whoops. I didn't know they got a notification.
Oh, my phone's blowing up. No one's sending me. It's out of... I'll call Apple or whatever. I'll figure it out, Craig. Thanks.
It's definitely not on your end, Craig. It's definitely not on your end. See you, buddy.
Love you, man.
See ya.
All right, there's Craig Stout, kcsn.substack.com. Again, there's a whole lot more to the piece that he put out there this morning about L'Jarius Sneed and looking at the historical, the reference point to some of these previous cornerbacks that have been traded for specific pick for pick. He's included all of them, including players for picks and things like that, but players for other players and picks included, if that makes sense. But cornerbacks being traded and got draft picks back, what that looked like. So interesting stuff there from Craig Stout. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling more zone right after this. Thank you to Craig Stout, kcsn.substack.com, the KC Laboratory Podcast, joining us, talking some ACS football. It's a good point about the Dave Merritt thing. You know, if Dave Merritt leaves, it makes it even more imperative that you would like L'Jarius Sneed to return. If Dave Merritt is simply, and I do wonder this too, if Dave Merritt is starting the process of going through the interviews to be a defensive coordinator with his eyes on the future to be a defensive coordinator, or you know what? I mean, the defensive coordinator job wasn't being offered to him, and he wasn't interviewing for it when he was asked about it during the season.
That's right. And,
well, I mean, I want to stay. I'm not looking to leave. My kids are in high school. Okay, well, now you can be the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. Fantastic defense. Fred Warner's out there. You're familiar with Charvarius Ward. Ufunga was injured last year, so you got him coming back. You got one of the Bosas, you know, the better one of the Bosas, you know. Seems
to be a little bit of minus Steve Wilkes, unfortunately, but a bit of a fast track to a head coaching position as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Being around, is Shanahan the new McVay, where the McVay touch was getting people jobs, and the Shanahan touch getting people jobs as well. Andy Reid touch not working nearly as much.
Apparently not, no.
As some others. But, I mean, it did for a couple of coordinators, but not a whole lot. But I do wonder, like, what the mindset is of Dave Merritt, because if he goes in, maybe he's starting the process of interviewing, and then he goes and interviews, and it's like, actually, this is, honey, kids, this is what I want to do. And while you're in high school, I'm going to have to commute. Or we're moving to San Francisco. You know, and there are good football programs there, Dawson, you know, and et cetera. And guess what? Teams across the country already know your name.
Yep.
And they're going to know you wherever you go. But he also might want to see it through for one more year with his high school teammates as a senior. Who knows what's going on? It's the family part that we don't really talk a whole lot about. And that's the main thing Dave Merritt talked about when he was asked about this.
Exactly. We wouldn't even know any of that if he didn't kind of offer it as, well, here, this is where my head's at and where I'm at right now. And certainly, listen, I wouldn't blame him one bit. If he got offered this job and he said, yikes, guys, it was in front of me there, and I didn't realize that was going to be an opportunity so quick, and I took it. The other thing is the Niners have interviewed several other candidates. It seemed like Brandon Staley was probably in line for that job. If the Niners are interviewing Dave Merritt to interview all of their candidates, their best candidates, and get as much information as they can, it makes sense from their standpoint. The two things I think could make sense from Dave Merritt's perspective, even if there is a smaller chance of him getting that job, is one that you mentioned. You're getting one defensive coordinator interview under your belt here. Next offseason, if you're going to be open for business a little bit more, you could say, hey, I might have 5 interviews this time next year, and none of them are going to be my first. You know, that's just a process you've already gotten into a little bit. The other thing is if he comes back and he says, hey, if they offer him the job and he wants it, he should take it. Money's not going to be the differentiating factor there probably. But if he says, hey, they seem really interested and I do want to be a defensive coordinator at some point in the future, can I get a little more money this year? And maybe you make me the cornerbacks / secondaries guru / assistant defensive coordinator, assistant to the defensive coordinator, whatever terminology you need to get a little pay bump, a little title boost, and then next year you're really set up for success if you do get that job. There are still ways for this to end well for everybody, but if they do lose Dave Merritt, it would be really, I don't want to say it would be devastating for the Chiefs' development of cornerbacks because I don't know that. Sam Madison was a big part of it. He's back out there again now. And clearly, Steve Spagnuolo is a huge, huge part of it, and he's not going anywhere. They could continue being very good at developing corners, but I know that Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt as a combination have an absolutely incredible thing there that I want them to continue doing for whoever the day 3 pick is this year, who's starting in December, and I want them to continue doing that for Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson. And yeah, if they lost L'Jarius Sneed and Dave Merritt, that would be a much bigger hit than losing just either one of them, obviously.
Also, this is one of the worst places he could interview because he already has a guy in-house that can vouch for him in Charvarius Ward that's going to probably be banging the table to try and get him in there.
Well, and he can let Dave Merritt know that he likes it better there. Every part about
That's
it.
True. That's
it's
true.
Much better there in San Francisco.
Oh, it would be nice for the folks in San Francisco to have a guy with rings actually in their organization.
Just walks in there with clanging rings.
He just does his interview.
It's like the Pivot podcast where McCole was wearing both his rings. You know, he's got 3 now. Well, he will have 3, but he's got 2. Just sitting there with both rings, just talking. Look, if I've got those rings on, I'm talking with my hands a lot.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
I am a big-time hand talker. Constantly, just hands waving up in the air like I'm wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man the whole time. Just arms and
palms always facing yourself. You're never pointing, or it's always back of the hands going out.
Yeah,
look at these shiny.
I mean, it's I don't know what to do with my hands. Like I don't even know. I'm sitting here in a chair. Typically, I would know what to do with my hands, but they're floating with these. Are these rings? Are they filled with air because they're floating? Do they need to burp so I don't get hit by the fan?
You could probably actually like several. I was gonna say 2 birds, 1 stone. It's really 2 birds and like hundreds of stones because of the stones on the rings.
Yeah.
Just kind of do dumbbell curls basically, but you're just doing them with your rings. That's extra weight. That's heavier, and you're showing them off. 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down.
I don't think you need to call them that.
I just don't think you should admit to tampering. You know, if that just seems like a silly thing to do.
Doesn't make him a dumbbell. It means he's feeling himself a little bit.
I love McCole Hardman. That's all right. We gotta be a little bit of a dumbbell sometimes.
The guy went from fumbling through the end zone against the Bills to then being in the celebrity NBA All-Star basketball game.
That was so funny. We ever talk about how funny that was?
Late night shows and the lone guest on an hour-long pivot.
He was like the 6th receiver on the Jets in week 2.
And he's Mr. Walk-Off in the NBA Celebrity All-Star game.
So good.
Let's hear from McCole Hardman.
I don't think he's a dumbbell.
I don't either.
Jason's twisting my words.
You said dumbbell.
I quit.
All right. Not for another 2.5 hours.
2 hours and 20 minutes from now, I quit.
20 minutes.
I'll do podcasts and stuff after the show. Don't worry about it.
What if you really did just walk out?
Just poof.
Well, you're doing it to me, so might as well do it to Dylan.
I listen. I'm leaving everybody in the lurch. It's like I said on Monday. If the show's a little worse after I leave, I'd appreciate it. Not a lot worse, just like 2%.
Oh, I thought you meant the show's a little worse after you leave than when you got here.
That's definitely true. No, that's not up for argument. That's not up for argument at all.
You just want to be there and make it better than what it was when you found it.
Yeah, leave only footprints, take only memories, maybe leave some trash and take the good stuff. I'm taking all the good audio.
What about those one set of footprints? Well, that's when I carried you, Josh.
And that's when Jason carried me, and I'm taking the Eddie Mangan audio. Actually, all of the Sodfather clips are coming with me.
Here's McCole Hardman. He was asked about the Jets issues. What was going on there in New York of what made them so bad?
What went wrong there?
Y'all treat certain guys that shouldn't be treated like they should be treated. And I just feel like it's not an established coaching staff there as well. Like, you just got a new coaching staff that came in. There's no standard there. It's like everybody do what they want to do. And defense have a more of a stabilized standard with the coaching staff on that side. So you could tell the defense got a standard, but the offense is just like, all right, we'll just figure it out. It's Aaron's show. Let Aaron do what Aaron do, you know what I mean? But then when Aaron go down, it's like, we don't know what to do. But this is like the same coach that just was out of a job the previous year that averaged get a new job. I know for a fact I'm better than him for sure. Like, I ain't trying to, I know I'm better than him too. Garrett Wilson, the only person y'all should just be like, hey. So I have no problem with y'all putting around Garrett Wilson for sure. I don't care. Like, that's fine. But when it comes to certain other things, it's like, come on, like, I don't understand why I'm not in the rotation with that. And y'all never gave me a reason as to why either. This my thing was, y'all can't tell me about winning. I've been to 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Now, you feel me? But beforehand, I've been to 4 AFC championships. I've been to 3 Super Bowls. I've won 2 of them. Like, I know what winning looks like. Right. I know what winning is. So y'all keep telling me certain things. It's like, I'm not going for that. Like, because y'all not doing it right. Like, we got hammers on the ground. We don't got no discipline. People feel like it's too many individual egos in this locker room or whatever, and I'm telling them, like, this not going to get y'all to win. It's not going to happen.
So a couple things there. When he signed with the Jets, then they bring in, after that, Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb to appease Aaron Rodgers. So when he's sitting there going, he's not better than me, he's not better than me, he's not better than me, I don't necessarily disagree with Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb at their age. Mm-hmm. Lazard, I would think, is better than McCole Hardman, but Randall Cobb at his age, it's debatable. They're sort of 6 in one hand, half dozen the other, right? I mean, Garrett Wilson isn't arguing with somebody there, all right? It's a different level, like he said. But when he talked about, like, the standard of things, I mean, he did mention, like, well, that offensive staff, I mean, they were at a job, and then they get in there and there's the defense is stabilized. They've got a standard, everything. one of the things that stood out to me, which was a random inclusion that I'd have to imagine is a bigger deal to NFL players than just like he was talking about. We got helmets on the ground. Like you mentioned that. Like, that's a detail thing, right? Mm-hmm. If people have just random helmets laying on the ground and you're running drills, or you're running an offensive play and somebody's got their helmet on the ground and you step on it and you injure yourself, like something like that, detail-oriented, that his 4 years in Kansas City was like, nobody had a helmet on the ground. You better not put your helmet on the ground. Somebody can get injured. But in New York, there's helmets on the ground. There's all this other stuff going on. It's just like there's no attention to detail. That stood out to me because that's sort of like the standard is, as they say in Pittsburgh, the standard is the standard, right? In Kansas City, the standard is this. And it builds off itself because now a rookie gets there and sees, I'm not putting my helmet down. Nobody has their helmet on the ground. There are no helmets on the ground. Okay, why aren't there helmets on the ground? Because that small detail can injure somebody, and that's not happening here. But in New York, it was sort of paints the picture of like a cluster of like there's no discipline and there's no structure to what was going on offensively there.
And Justin Tucker plays for the Ravens. Talking about helmets on the ground in places they shouldn't be. It's such a good point because if you are the rookie that shows up and you realize that's what's just unspoken, perhaps.
Yeah.
If you are the guy that puts your helmet on the ground and in training camp, 89 other guys have their helmets on or in their hands, you might go, oh, well, I'm the bleep hole here. Like, I am the outlier. Yeah. I should pick this up because also it is a championship standard. I mean, not that Nathaniel Hackett couldn't win over his own another coaching staff or another group of players, but if you come to Kansas City and you're talking about championship successful standards and you are looking around saying, this guy's out of a job, like this guy had an embarrassing year last year and now he's telling me like he's trying to set that culture, that absolutely is an alarm bell. The biggest thing from that for me is earlier in the clip where I would dare any Jets media or Jets fan or Jets player or Jets front office member to refute the idea that the plan was let Aaron do his thing. And then when Aaron goes down 4 snaps into the season, I'm not saying you needed to have a plan for your starting quarterback's Achilles to pop 4 snaps into the year, but you need to have something that's not just run what Aaron wants to run. This is Aaron's show where he's the GM, the head coach, and the savior in addition to being the quarterback. That was evident at the time. Again, frickin' Randall Cobb was like a mandatory piece of that vision, and the Jets have been in such a quarterback purgatory for so long that they were willing to kowtow to Aaron Rodgers. And again, I understand why they traded for him. I understand that made sense for them at the time. You've just got to have something resembling an NFL structure there. When consider the messenger. Mecole Hardman is not some stuffy 10-year vet who hates how these kids these days behave in the football field. He remembers 2-a-days. Man, Mecole Hardman's a fun-loving, still young NFL player who went through a rookie contract here, played at Georgia, of course. So like there's a collegiate standard in terms of what he's been around. But Mecole Hardman's no stick in the mud, and he's looking around like, man, you guys are sloppy with some of this stuff. And Mecole Hardman's reputation is fun-loving, high-flying kind of goofball. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I can't be on Pat ass all day.
Right,
like,
right.
He's the guy not doing the extra work, right? And then he's going there is like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are telling me how to do these different things. Like, I've been on a winner for a while. Isn't that why you brought me in?
And my point there is that I think a lot of that for Mecole Hardman is a little bit unfair reputationally, and it's in the context of who you're comparing him to here.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce was a head case out of college, right? Like, think about everything that went into the Travis Kelce evolution and now where he is as a person. The Jets seemed like exactly as big a mess as they looked like from the outside last year, and I kind of love that Mecole Hardman's been like the main character of this week.
Something that has got a lot of people talking is Mecole Hardman and whether there was tampering that went with the trade of Mecole Hardman back to the Chiefs. This is a very quick little passing comment from Mecole Hardman that's probably got the most attention. Here's Mecole Hardman with his situation in New York before being traded to the Chiefs.
I'm telling you right now, I was so checked out. Like, it's over. I already talked to Veach and Pat. Like, hey, bro, come get me, bro. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are we talking about? Like, man, come get me. Like.
And they did. They went and got him. So that has sparked a lot of conversation about tampering. If the Chiefs were in contact with McCole Hardman before they traded for him, because you can't have contact there. Now, there are different forms of communication. McCole Hardman can reach out to Brett Veach and say, come get me, and text him, and Brett Veach can ignore the text because those are the rules. He could call Brett Veach and say, hey, come get me, and Brett Veach can go, I'm not supposed to talk to you, man. We'll get you. But I can't talk to you. Hang up, right? There'll probably be an investigation. I'm not sure how deep it will go. I know if the Chiefs ended up trading somebody that had been checked out for a couple of weeks before they traded him, and then all of a sudden he's traded back to his old team and said, I talked to their GM and said, hey, man, come get me.
They got to investigate that, honestly.
Sure. If come get me was, hey, we're talking to the Chiefs about trading you, Brett, come get me, man. Right. Trade for me, dude. I'm out. I'm checked out here. It's really interesting that the conversation went from those things to then, oh, by the way, he was leaking game plans. Yeah. Like, I know, like he may have been involved with tampering with the Brett Veach, but what about the game plans being leaked by McCole Hardman? That's the big deal with this, which is weird that you would tell everybody that this former player was leaking game plans only after he came out and was like, yeah, your guy's structure and discipline is terrible. Oh, yeah, well, you gave game plans away. Well, he hasn't been on your team for a while.
And also the Jets offensively had maybe the best performance against the Chiefs defense of the year, probably ultimately second behind the Packers, but certainly the best at that point in the season.
Was that Zach Wilson's best performance against the Chiefs?
Yeah, the other one was the Eagles game, too, that they won. They beat the Eagles with Zach Wilson in that game.
I forgot that they won that game.
Yeah. Yep.
They beat the Eagles and then had a really good offensive showing against a great Chiefs defense. That's kind of strange.
Nathaniel Hackett is such a bad OC that he has the players convinced that they're leaking his plays, but in reality, he's just terrible.
Or
the only way they can know that we're doing this is if somebody gave them the game plan.
Exactly. Or he just he has been doing this for a long time, Dylan. Nathaniel Hackett was doing this in Denver also. Hey, leak the game plans, and then when you leak out my terrible game plans, we'll use the real ones. But McCole Hardman was the first guy to bite, and then they got to use the real plays against the Chiefs and the Eagles.
Wasn't it Texas, Oklahoma, where Mike Leach set up an entire game plan that was fake?
The fake playbook
and
or whatever,
First 20, first 25 plays, entire thing, and then they made plays built off those formations that they had given them, that they had left out there, and then they just toasted them. Just toasted them because they thought that was going to be the WikiLeaks. Wake Forest actually had a member of their broadcasting team give out the playbook to other teams. He ended up getting fired.
Yeah, that makes
but
sense.
It was called WikiLeaks.
That's so good.
And the big one that happened was when they were playing Louisville, one of his best friends was the Louisville offensive coordinator. And it's different when it's like, oh, well, the Jets that gave out the game plan, what, your first 15? Because everything else you're doing is on film. Everything else you're doing is on film. But they had specific plays they hadn't run yet. They had trick plays that the formation got there and a check, and then Louisville checked into something to stop like a double reverse pass. Like they knew it was coming. They got a sack, and it was like, I can't remember who Dave something, that was the head coach of Wake Forest after the game. He was like, I mean, they knew exactly what we were doing on that thing. Like he suspected something was up during the game. Like, how do they know we're doing this? All right, how'd they know we're doing that? We've never put this on film, and they checked right into something to stop that. That's a little different than, well, he released our game plan. Like, what's the game plan? Because your best games were against the Eagles. Your best game against the Eagles and Zach Wilson's best performance against the Chiefs. You should leak and release more game plans. Should do it every week. It's a tradition. You got a friend over there. And also, why, like, frustrated by his lack of usage, he just started giving the game plan to other teams. That's random for a guy who's on a one-year deal.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know. Maybe he did. I'm not defending him and saying that he didn't do it. Maybe he did. It just seems random that he would do that. Those would be their best games, and then that wouldn't come out until he came out and talked about how bad the Jets were, and it would be two people, Sauce Gardner and then reserve tight end Brent, your
This
boy?
is Kenny, your boy?
Kenny,
your
Kenny,
boy?
Kenny, your boy Kenny.
Your boy Kenny.
Your boy Kenny.
And your boy Sauce.
Kenny, your boy, and Sauce Gardner. I don't know. But they should pick up their helmets.
They should also have better game plans
during practices. Or just better coaches. Ryan Tracy comes up at noon. We'll play some sports or leisure in the 1 o'clock hour before we are done. I'll tell you, it has a lot to do with the number 29.
Oh, okay.
Yep, a lot to do with number 20. You know why, Josh?
Because that's how old I am.
That's right.
Thank you.
Because you are 29 years old today.
Well, yes. About 365 days, actually. I'll be 29. About 3 months into it now.
Oh.
I am 29 today. I've been 29 since late December.
You'll be 29 tomorrow, too. You were 29 yesterday, too.
delivering all-natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. Coming up an hour from now, we'll play a little sports or leisure. Right now, let's talk some football with Ryan Tracy from RGR Football, Locked On Chiefs podcast, where a lot of people can hear him. Check out his work, rogueapc.com as well with the Athletic Matrix. Ryan Tracy joining us here in the zone. Ryan, what's up, man? How are you, sir?
I am keeping up. How are you doing?
I am doing just fine. Trying to keep up as well, but there's so much stuff to keep up with, especially after yesterday. We could have moved some of that information, some of that news to today, but we decided just to do it all in one fell swoop. It helped us get over hump day, and now we're here on a Thursday. While the combine's going on, the Chiefs are unveiling renderings. The NFLPA is like, yeah, they suck, though. Their ownership's terrible, so, go collect that money. A lot of stuff going on. And L'Jarius Sneed can go and seek a trade. Other than that, just a boring last 24 hours or so.
Yeah, it's a yawn fest, right?
Yawn Fest, that's right. I love it. Yawn Fest Wednesday. That's what we're going to call it from now on. Yawn Fest Wednesdays. What was your reaction to the Chiefs telling L'Jarius Sneed that, or at least the report that he's allowed to go out and seek a trade, and the Chiefs would be willing to do that if all of the right circumstances are met?
I was hemming on back and forth between. Do they indicate, because they're always going to indicate a little bit before they make something like that, like a franchise tag. Do they go Chris? Do they go L'Jarius? I think in the end, it was 50-50 for me, depending on what your priority is. And I think this gives us an indication of where they are between the two negotiations. And I see this as being more of a tool for Brett Veach to help his own case of wherever he has L'Jarius' valuation by allowing him and his agents to get more feedback from around the league in terms of valuation, trade comp, the whole 9 yards. Because any trade would obviously have to pre-involve an estimated new contract. I think that's a useful feedback loop for Brett Veach.
And it's a useful feedback tool for L'Jarius Sneed. And it's useful, too, because, I'd rather have more information than not. I want to know what another team is willing to offer in a trade. I want to know can I get a second rounder or a first rounder or a third and a fifth or something like that. If L'Jarius Sneed is wanting $23 million, we can't match that. Another team's offering him $23 million, and we've agreed to parameters. Hey, you know what? I want to know I've got that option that's there instead of you get to a point to where I don't think we're going to be able to work out a deal. Let's make a trade with somebody. Oh, wait, they've already figured out some of their pieces in free agency, or they're not willing to move a particular draft pick because they've fallen in love with a prospect or something like that. The more information, the better. And that's why I'm totally fine with them saying go out and see if you can do that because, if that's the route it ends up going, then, hey, the Chiefs can get something for them because they wanted to sign Tyreek Hill. It didn't work out, and they had to trade him, and they got a king's ransom for him, essentially, and they were able to make that work, and they capitalized on that investment.
And that's what comes when you've done your work to this point. They did their work on L'Jarius pre-draft. They've been able to develop him thanks to the coaching staff, and now you've built yourself from a fourth-round pick into a legitimate, I think, first-round deserving in compensation cornerback that if he's not going to help you, can help someone very significantly, and that is value to the organization one way or the other, whether it's on the field or he gets you another round of the same concept of finding the right resource and developing it. I'm just not sure if it's best long-term or what they'll find out there in terms of interest in a trade, only because of two factors. There's been an injury history. I don't think it's terribly significant, but I'm not inside the building and I've never seen an MRI, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. And then there's the age factor. I don't think because of the mileage that's on L'Jarius Sneed that the age factor is truly going to be overwhelming, but it is something I think every team's going to consider as part of the equation.
And it can work in the Chiefs' favor. What if he goes out there and a team saying, the max value we'd give you is, $18 million. And the Chiefs are like, oh, see, now that's what we're working within, that $18 million or what another team would give you. Of course, with the $19.8 million, that's typically when you place a franchise tag, that might be the starting point on it. If the Chiefs only had one that they could be able to sign, would you prefer Chris Jones or L'Jarius Sneed?
It's a tough one for me. I was one of the pre-draft prophets for L'Jarius Sneed. Loved what he did in college. I loved the fit. He's actually outgrown my expectations for him, to tell you the truth. But he's kind of been my guy from the beginning. The problem is in today's league, you're able to find cover corners that are within the realm of comparison. I mean, I consider him a top 5 cover corner in this league at this point. You're not necessarily going to be able to go out and get that, but you can get a top 15 or a top 10, right? There's no one close other than Aaron Donald to what you have from Chris Jones right now. And I don't anticipate Matt Bike, Christian Wilkins, anybody that's available out there for acquisition. I don't think that you're going to get the same production, maybe not over the course of the season, but certainly in the playoff run, from anyone but Chris Jones. So in terms of the commodity itself, it feels like Chris Jones is a rarer product.
Yeah, and I think, are you closer to having an answer in-house for somebody leaving at that position with L'Jarius Sneed or Chris Jones? And I don't think there's any question that, it's L'Jarius Sneed. I have no idea what the answer would be in-house for Chris Jones. The answer in-house for L'Jarius Sneed, it's not a resounding answer, but it's a, serviceable. Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, one of those guys filling in. There's at least a name, somebody on the team under contract that you've seen go out there and play that you go, all right, I feel comfortable. If that guy's out there, we can figure out how to go and play. If number 95 is not there and you're trying to address that in-house, I think you're in a world of hurt right now, with especially with all of the different free agents on this defensive line.
Yeah, if they called a meeting today of the interior defenders under contract and Joe Cullen, Joe would be in the room talking to himself.
That's a great point.
That's what it comes down to.
Literally, there is no answer in-house. There is not one in-house right now. Ryan Tracy is our guest, Locked On Chiefs podcast, RGR Football. The impact of Dave Merritt, whether he goes or doesn't go, what is that in your mind for this Chiefs team moving forward, especially with the questions around L'Jarius Sneed and whether he's going to return with the Chiefs?
In my opinion, the possible departure of Dave Merritt is earth-shattering, especially given the conversation we just had about could you replace in-house? Could you continue to see someone on the roster already develop into someone that could be – I fully expect if L'Jarius Sneed departs this roster, that Trent McDuffie is able of assuming that mantle as not only a number 1 cornerback but a top 5 corner in this league. The question is, could someone else rise to the level that is more than a just passable number 2 as part of a duo? And right now, I'm not sure of that. If there's any way for that to actually happen with the guys on the roster in-house right now, you must have Dave Merritt. His departure would be – I can't say it would completely stop progression because there are a lot of good coaches around the league that come in and do with this young group that is obviously show that it's hungry to improve and still make progress. But in this system, working for Spags, playing this brand of football, it's really not a one-for-one with anyone else. So for me, I hope that this is something that gets him a tidy raise and a nice bump in title, and he's right back in the building next week.
Yeah, I'm totally agree. And maybe this is the start of him looking at defensive coordinator positions, and I can go through the interview process, see what it's like, get some of that experience, get a little bit more money from the Chiefs, title, couple of years, then go out, and I've been through that that sort of dog and pony show, and I know what to expect, and now I can be better prepared to go and get a job as a defensive coordinator. Ryan Tracy is our guest. As you look at sort of free agency and into the draft, some of the bigger needs for the Chiefs, as they have some money available. If they sign Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed, then they might not have much, although they can restructure Patrick Mahomes and save some $30 million. But are you looking at them to address that more focused in free agency or focused in the draft to fill some of the biggest holes for this Chiefs team? Obviously, the answer is both, but which do you think is more conducive of them being able to fill some of the holes they have and go back to trying to three-peat?
Yeah, I think it comes down to positional groups, and specifically, say, the defensive interior. If you have to put someone next to Chris Jones, I don't see a ton of talent at where the Chiefs will be picking in this draft. So I do think free agency is a factor, maybe more for defensive tackle and wide receiver for some of the other positions. Obviously, T. Higgins gets the tag, a lot of question marks about availability. It's a deep wide receiver class. So I think you could see what it is not a top tier. You know, if Mike Evans wants to come to Kansas City, I don't think you're giving him $20 million a year. You're going to have a lesser signing there along with the draft pick and bolster the wide receiver room, not just with, 7 wide receivers in terms of could develop into something, but 3 that you feel can produce on the field for you tomorrow, and you'll see what else comes up with it. That position I know is on the forefront of most people's minds. I think the defensive tackle position and the depth at linebacker could be even more critical to sustain success in a run at a three-peat.
Is it better like looking at the wide receivers in this draft, and I know there are some difference makers in this draft, and there's some depth that goes along with it too. And they got a Rashee Rice in the second round. They also got Sky Moore in the second round. So there is a risk factor in picking there, and there's a risk factor in picking anywhere. Quentin Johnston went in the first round, although I didn't want the Chiefs to come anywhere close to Quentin Johnston in the draft last year. Is it worthwhile for the Chiefs to spend extra draft capital to move up to 20, something like that, and get maybe one of these premier receivers that might still be available, or take somebody in the second round, maybe even trade back, wait at number 32, whatever it might be, and take a next level wide receiver? Is the depth of this class that good that you can get somebody that can be a Rashee Rice-like player in the second round at pick number 64, or trading back from 32, et cetera? Or is there somebody that's just, it's a difference maker and it's worth giving up an extra third and fourth to move up and get this guy?
I think there are complements that can develop into that role. Let's give Rashee Rice the credit that he deserves. He progressed, maybe in such stark difference to Sky Moore, even more quickly than we could have hoped for, to tell you the truth. But I don't know. It's going to depend how it falls with the left tackle position in the draft to see whether there's a possible trade up. If it's for that and somebody that they've got a great grade on, you might see that. If it's the wide receiver, I think standing pat is the most likely. I don't see you trading up for a receiver, but you could trade back. So I think probably the least likely scenario, I'd probably put the odds at 20% or less that they stay and pick at 32.
Interesting. So either move, and you would think if they move up, it's going to be for a tackle, that they would attack that position more than wide receiver or another position?
It feels like it to me, again, because of the girth of the class. The depth at wide receiver is so much different than it is at tackle, and particularly left tackle. And we've seen them try to do that before. Lenny Morris, I think, gave you some nice flashes. I don't think you can base your plan for next season around him at this point. So I don't think they can get caught in that same loop of we're going to take a second-round tackle and hope that he develops into something that can put on the field and go to a championship game in. So it does feel like probably for both those positions, lessons learned not just this year, but ever since last 3 or 4 cycles, I think we'll be rolled into being more aggressive on both fronts.
Yeah, I'd rather find a solution at left tackle if they're going to trade up. Find a solution at left tackle for the next 4 or 5, plus years than even a wide receiver that can go along with Rashee Rice. There are multiple wide receivers out there. There's one left tackle on the field, and you need to be right on that. And with what they've got going on at right tackle, and whether that contract is worth it, certainly the contract's not worth it. Jawan Taylor's not a terrible player. It may be worth it at some point, but definitely figuring out that left side. Ryan Tracy is our guest, Locked On Chiefs podcast, RGR Football. What was your reaction to the NFLPA survey that came out with some of the facilities that were going on, and really, to me, the training staff and the nutritionist and some of the pre-practice routines and trying to take care of their body? But there's a lot of criticism that's heading Clark Hunt's way. What did you make of the survey, the report that came out yesterday?
I thought the timing was pretty interesting. And I think some of it is a little bit disproportionate to what is really going on in the locker room. And by the locker room, I mean the day-to-day practice facility locker room. I've seen a lot of confusion in the fan base about they just got this new locker room at Arrowhead. Why are they upset? Well, it's because they only spend, 1 day a week there. The bulk of their week is spent in the practice facility locker room, which has not been updated in quite a long time. So I can see the disconnect. But I think some criticism is fair, especially when you've got back-to-back championships on your belt and had so much success in the last 5-year run. I also can see from the business side that you have to tackle things in an order that helps you the best product on the field. And certainly I can see why the Arrowhead Stadium locker room was done before the day-to-day. But My big concern were the secondary pieces you mentioned about the training staff, what I call the daily maintenance of players in terms of soft tissue work, dietary restrictions, recovery. I think all those things are the things that I'm most concerned about. The locker room will sort itself out, and there will be money to be had to fix that. But the day-to-day, how you help guys prepare to be on the field, and I think that's probably the thing that needs the most change the most quickly.
Yeah, and I said the same thing. Like people will focus on locker room and say, well, the spoiled players, and look, if they want nicer chairs, they want bigger lockers, they want the newest game system in their locker, whatever. We see that at different colleges. But to me, if I'm asking Clark Hunt to spend a little bit more money, I'm asking Clark Hunt to go to the team that's got an A with nutritionists and say, hey, Vikings or whoever the nutritionist is, how much do you want? How much money? Because we're going to pay you. You're going to come to Kansas City. We're going to pay you. We'll pay out of your contract, whatever it is. We'll pay for it. You're going to be here. Hey, training staff, the best in the league. What are they doing? Okay, well, let's hire some of those people. Let's hire them away. All right, great. Now you're coming over here to Kansas City. Strength coaches, whatever it might be. That's where I would care about Clark Hunt spending the money, is getting the personnel and the staff there, and increasing the staff if they don't feel like there's a sufficient amount of people there to help. Increasing the staff, that to me is where the money and less than hey, we're going to spend like $4 million in updating the locker room with the practice facility. Cool. But what about the nutritionist, the training staff, whether there's a massage therapist there on site? Do they have enough of the cold tubs, the hot tubs, whatever it might be that they're looking for? That's the investment I would love to see Clark Hunt make. But I'm not a player there that's dealing with the locker room on a daily basis.
I agree with you, and I think you hit on something key. I don't think this report disparages the quality of care that they get from the training staff. I think it disparages the volume of care that they can get from the training staff because they're understaffed. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see a dedicated trainer per position group. I'd like to see you overspend on those salaries because in the end it goes back into improving your week-to-week quality on the field.
Yep. And Taylor Swift can help pay for that because of the Swifties that have come in and the more merchandise that's being bought, et cetera, et cetera. She can help pay for that. Not literally, but financially down the road. Last one for you, Ryan. Have you developed a draft crush yet? As you're looking through all of these different prospects and film study and everything, is there starting to be a draft crush that you're developing?
There is. And I'm reluctant because I generally go through a bit of a cycle. But since about midseason in the college ranks, there's one player at the wide receiver position that I think will be a second-round pick again that I feel that does some things similarly to what Rashee Rice does, which would allow Rashee to go become more of a boundary player and play at the X a little bit more. Yet he does the one thing that we haven't seen from the interior receivers on this roster in the last two seasons, and that's track the ball over his head with expertise. His name's Jalen Polk. He played for the Washington Huskies. Yeah. I think he's an excellent fit in this offense, and I would love to see it. I just don't know if the rest of the league's going to catch on or already has and have him placed well above where the Chiefs would be able to acquire him.
Okay, Jalen Polk, we got it written down. I like him as well. We'll see what ends up happening. Ryan, you're the man. Really appreciate the time as always. Enjoying the Locked On Chiefs podcast and the breakdowns and things like that. And looking forward to our next conversation. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Take care.
Absolutely. There's Ryan Tracy, RGR Football, Locked On Chiefs podcast, RogueAPC.com. A lot of different places you can check out his work. Athletic Matrix founder. As well. So good stuff there from Ryan Tracy. I like Jalen Polk. And again, that's sort of the area, there's a lot of wide receivers I like. I still think there are so many character questions around Rome Odunze that they've got to just red flag him. Every team 31 teams need to red flag that guy. Terrible. Troy Franklin, terrible teammate. I've heard nothing but terrible things about. In fact, Bo Nix had to go out of his way to get people to even acknowledge him in the room. That's how much people hated him.
Marvin Harrison Jr., I guess, finally showed up and got his height measured and left. Does he even love football? I wouldn't take him in the top 31.
You know what he's doing while everybody else is busting their ass in football? Sitting around playing video games. I don't want that guy on my team.
Yeah, I don't think I can
Not
trust
in the
that.
top 31.
Nope, not in the top 31 at all.
Pick 32 on? Yeah, then I would take a chance.
A flyer. You're taking a flyer at that point.
Throw a dart.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
guess
mean?
so. But you take him in the top 31, you should fold the franchise.
Neighbors? No, thank you. I'd rather have his neighbor.
Want a good neighbor? Draft a different player in the top 31.
That's right. But if those players go to teams that just don't care about character concerns at all and want to screw over their entire organization, then if you're looking in the second round or trading back, a Jalen Polk, a player like that.
How often is a junior of a former NFL player good anyway?
Never heard of one.
I can't think of any.
Never.
I can't even think of a junior of a former athlete that went on to be good in the same or a different sport.
Any sport whatsoever. Professional players' kids, typically spoiled brats that don't want to work.
Yep. Always flame out. Always.
Especially if they didn't win in college.
Yeah, that's right. That's a great sign to get away.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison Jr., please.
Couldn't beat Michigan, so.
Exactly.
Couldn't win the big game.
What I'm saying is Roman Wilson. You should take Roman Wilson. If you like winners, Roman Wilson won a national championship as a wide receiver. Take him in the top 31.
Honestly, the top 31 should probably just all be Wolverines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, it should be like a whole edition of Red Dawn.
Yeah.
Just every one of them are Wolverines. Avenge me! Draft me! All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you to Ryan Tracy. Sports or Leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. Little 29 activity going on in the 1 o'clock hour for some Sports or Leisure. Little Johnny's Tavern going on around here in the 1 o'clock hour for Sports or Leisure. And you can also win $25 to Johnny's Tavern if you so choose.
If you're so capable. If you're so willing.
If you are willing and capable and smart enough.
Or your name's Avery?
Not recently, huh? Yeah.
You got to play the game and then also know how to play the game. The challenges we give to you, 1 o'clock.
I'll be paying up a little lunch bet today. So there'll be some Johnny's Tavern around here, which is great. Nice, which I saw somebody tweet out yesterday when the NFLPA survey came out, and it showed, did you see this? A paper plate with like a small sliver of pizza and said Clark Hunt surprising his players after another Super Bowl.
Sliver is the exact right word. It barely connects at both sides the whole way down. It's like held together by cheese.
Is it like one of those pieces when you cut a piece in half to share?
No, it's like when you cut a piece in half and then cut it in half again.
Exactly
yeah,
right. Yes,
it's like a cheese stick on a little bit of bread.
It's a cheese stick that's shaped as a triangle.
Yes, it's this vaguely triangular cheese stick.
That's exactly right. That was pretty good.
If they had Johnny's at Arrowhead, I don't think there'd be all these nutrition problems that they're showing up on the report cards. So many good options. God, I'm glad I didn't lose any of those.
Is this the lunch bet that Mick will be missing out? Are we supposed to save him a slice? Or
Mick's coming in.
Mick's coming in?
Yep.
Mick's coming in.
Mick's coming in.
Let's go.
He's going to be here for Everybody Wins.
Oh, man, he's going to love that.
Did I just spoil that?
No, you didn't.
You didn't spoil it. Jason, you asked a question, and Jason answered it.
I could have said, too bad, Mick Schaefer, is not going to be here for the lunch bet. I guess I'll just have to pay him back one day on his own. He'll be in. He'll be hanging. He offered yesterday, right?
Yeah, he said come in, and
I think he's coming in. Right?
Everybody wins. I don't know.
That's going to be bad.
Confirmed with him.
Look, if he doesn't come in, that's his own fault. He said yesterday he was going to be in here. That's what he said on the air. I can go find the tape. I can have the court reporter read back to you what you said.
I think he said he would come in. I'm leaving this in your hands. This in your hands.
You said danger. I said grave danger. You said, is there another kind?
Is there any other kind?
I know what I said. I don't have to have it read back to me. Why the two orders, Mick? That's what I want to know. Why the two orders? Oh, wait, because this is food. That's right. It was the two orders for food.
Is my desire for Johnny's Tavern clear?
Crystal.
I couldn't come up with anything else that was crystal
sense.
Clear. So, is my desire for Clark Hunt to pay a little bit more money to upgrade some facilities and some nutrition options for the team perfectly clear?
You want the ingredients on that dough. You need the ingredients on that dough.
Did you order the lunch bet?
You gosh darn right I did. I'm going to get in a car and go back to my pizza. MP's Gar the Colonel. What is this? I'm being charged. I'm being charged for the food. I'm being charged for the food. I'm going to rip out your pepperoni and pee in your empty plate. You messed with the wrong chef.
I don't remember any of that.
It was the original script.
It's been a while. I
changed it.
I learned the monologue.
They made it worse.
I learned the monologue from the original script for an acting class in college.
You?
I did.
I learned it just because I watched it so much.
It's great. It's so good. I don't have all of it anymore, but man, it was. Yeah, I need to dip back into it and get that back because you get especially you get up and hear it all.
Yeah, that's right.
You're charging me for the pizza.
Honor, code, loyalty. Should do the whole thing as Denny Matthews.
Delicious.
You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Ding, ding. We use words like low and outside, time and temperature, and parking spot. Ding, we use these words as a backbone of a sport spent broadcasting. Use them as a punchline. Try to make fun of me.
Granted a second.
I have neither the time nor the inclination to spend my day watching this guy throw balls. Throw a strike. From time to time. All right.
That's a good collision of bits right there. I like that one a lot.
Is it?
I'm proud of this.
Collision where things should not be colliding.
Uh-oh.
A bringing together of two different things.
Oh, dear.
That would be a lawyer defending somebody who is charged with robbing banks, not robbing football teams, robbing banks across state lines. And his hobby is enjoying Chiefs football. It's a hobby. So Matthew Merriman decided,
brace yourself, everybody.
I've got this Chiefsaholic guy. I got an opportunity. Let's kill this thing. Here's his statement on Chiefsaholic and his day in court.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He took responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic,
I don't know much.
we know that he doesn't give up.
I didn't know that.
We know that if
we did know
he
that,
stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground. That's because he's capable of doing a great thing.
But what if he wasn't touched?
And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs Kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support. Thank you and God bless.
And God bless the Chiefs. Or did he not? Why didn't he say that? We're going to push this football into the red zone. We are going to score, and he is going to win, even though he already pleaded guilty. If there's one thing people know about Chiefsaholic, it's that he dressed up as a wolf. That's the one thing I know about Chiefsaholic. He dressed up as a wolf. I didn't know he didn't quit, except for the multiple times he kept robbing banks. I guess that would be one of those.
You know, we believe in a lot of things here in this country. The land of the free and the home of the...
Chiefs.
Thank you, everybody. That's my time.
His knee has never touched the ground. That's a fact. His knee has never touched the ground, and if it did, he wasn't touched. So he wasn't down by contact.
I think that it's important to remember that even incarcerated people are still human beings that do have life in front of them, that can do good things with that time, and maybe after they get out. And I think that's all important. I don't think I'm ready to rally to his support.
Yeah.
I think that's a little far for me personally. I think I might go ahead and not rally to anything involving Chiefsaholic.
I'll rally to the support of people he pointed a gun at.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, that
seems
rally
fair.
to.
I think those people should probably be rallied around.
Don't need to rally around a random dude who was a super fan that went to a lot of Chiefs games that also was a criminal.
Robbed banks along the way. I mean, listen. The thing that his story has, it has some whimsicality to it. He dressed up for games. He largely hid his identity in public and then hid his identity in private to rob banks. I understand why it was a 30 for 30 or an E60 or whatever. I
in
get
silence as well, you know.
Say again?
I said he grinds in silence and
that's right.
Privacy, just
that's
working
right.
his way up.
I understand why it's intriguing. I do not understand why you would be asking anyone to rally to his side in this entire situation. I may pass.
Also, is he taking a shot at Patrick Mahomes by saying he stepped into the pressure?
He kept his eyes up. He never dropped them in the pocket like Alex Smith used to. Whoa, dude, what the hell?
We're going to push this ball into the end zone, unlike the Chiefs in the red zone. Am I right, everybody? Am I right?
If Chiefs fans know anything about my client, Chiefsaholic, they know he's not afraid of a little contact, unlike Marcus Peters. What are we... You flexing your past Chiefs knowledge?
If anybody knows anything about me, they know, unlike the Chiefs, I'm not going to drop the ball.
I think, can we do a little production on air a bit here?
Yes.
I think I might have found the fix, and the main thing that was missing from this, it might make him sound a little more respectable as a lawyer. And it's just because he can't do this for himself. So let's maybe try the audio again here.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing.
His pocket
But today,
was collapsing.
Xavier
His
stepped
pockets
into the
were
pressure.
expanding. That's the
He took
problem.
responsibility for his actions.
Stepped into other people's pockets.
He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic,
It's how to pronounce his name.
we know that he
dressed
doesn't
up as a
give up.
wolf.
We know that if he stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground.
Doesn't mean anything.
That's
not
because
college.
he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs Kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support. Thank you and God bless.
Jason, you know how long he could be facing in prison?
Oh God.
50 years! 50 years, a lifetime!
You don't have to come out and play the clown. You don't have to. I mean, we do it here for 4 hours.
Yeah, because we're not lawyers!
But we try to give people a break for 4 hours. Get you from 10 to 2. How can we get you from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock?
Oh.
I know. Let's try to have fun and talk sports along the way. Can we make as many football puns as possible when somebody's facing 50 years?
A lifetime.
The government has been blitzing and his pocket was collapsing. That's why he robbed banks. His pocket was collapsing. He
Stepped up into the pressure of security at banks, credit unions.
He chose
Allegedly.
poorly. A lot of people's pockets are collapsing. They choose to go to work. They choose to do other things. They don't rob banks to help pay for their addiction because he's an aholic for the Chiefs. It's a disease that he has, apparently, for the Chiefs. What a clown. I mean, if you're a Chiefsaholic, you can still, find somebody else to represent you.
I have incredible news. I don't know if we have... Dylan, do you know the music bed for The Autumn Wind is a Pirate for that whole NFL films? And you know which one that is? Dylan's nodding at me like I just asked him if he could find his left foot.
You just asked Dylan if he likes air.
Yes.
You
Dylan,
like
are
oxygen?
you breathing back there?
Do you know how to breathe, Dylan? Does your heart know how to beat? Okay, great.
I love that. If you just find...
You got a little Jeff Brom in there, too. There, Jason.
Whoa, hey.
Whoa. You can just
Do you have a pulse?
You can just rip that when you find it, Dylan, because there's one part of this that I'd like to revisit again today that I had not previously considered. That maybe Matthew Merriman could use next time. Do you think you have the right one yet? I know we have a whole file of NFL Films music back there for exactly this moment.
For exactly this moment. We have been sitting here waiting for Matthew Merriman.
Yes. I'm gonna skip the first two little. What's it called? There's 4 lines.
Stanzas.
Stanzas?
Stanza, I think.
George?
I'm going to skip to the third one.
It'll be cuss stanza.
Forget about the Raiders.
Supka.
Here, the autumn wind is justice. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is Chiefsaholic. It's been there the whole time.
Are those the actual lyrics?
He growls as he storms the country.
Oh my God.
A villain big and bold.
Yeah, he's nailing it.
And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold.
This guy's living out the NFL Films music.
In fact, he's a Raider. I mean, that's gotta hurt.
Oh, it's a great point.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head and a bristling black mustache. We can do this. His face is red and painted. He wears a wolfy mask. with a red
Those
hat.
are the real lyrics?
Well, that's what I'm saying. With a red hat about his head and a bristling gray wolf mask. The rest of it I don't have to change.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Sorry, it's the autumn wind is a chiefsaholic, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won. I have to change it to, I guess, they'll laugh when he's conquered and in prison for a very long time.
And done.
When he's conquered and done.
Conquered and done. When his pocket is finally collapsing.
He could have. There were so many other routes this player could have taken.
I really wanted more, by the way.
Just for fun.
Once he started going down the route, a minute is not enough.
Not enough.
I need like 5 minutes of more puns for you and your opening statement on your client and whatever his name is, a holic, and facing up to 50 years in prison and letting us all know what we already know, because if there's one thing we know about him, it's that his knee doesn't touch the ground.
He doesn't give up.
You may say that my client is ready to throw Hail Marys. I'd say it's time to stick to the opening script.
We aren't ready to hand it off to the government yet. We don't want the ball in their court. Damn it! Son of a gun!
The clock is winding down, but it's tied in overtime, so that doesn't mean anything to me. The only thing my client needs now is patience and a corn dog. What guy? All right, come on. Come on. You don't know ball. You don't even know bail.
Man to man in that courtroom, everybody could see the look on my client's face. He wore his game face through the entire trial. He did not back down. He did not look away. We huddled and came together and pushed through while protecting what he holds sacred. And that is not letting them he won't let them steal second. Damn it, I did it again.
God dang it.
Oh, I should have written this out. Son of a gun.
He is working on plea deals, but I've worked my hardest to make sure that he has at least a triple option.
They're trying to have draconian penalties like a slap shot. No, son of a... I can't figure this out. What sport did he go to?
Hard?
Being blitzed here.
Oh, hey, hold on. As he robs them of their gold.
More so next.
We need the instant replay.
Upon further review, we know that, and just insert anything you want to go lawyerish with that one.
Chief Saholic knows he committed a couple of personal fouls. He's accepted that.
The government thought they were already down the field with their arguments. See?
The other problem with this is that we have fully lost the plot as to what that was even about. I think it was him saying he's pleading guilty and taking responsibility for some things on a plea deal.
Yeah, he pled guilty. And the government has been blitzing. That's why you told him to take a plea deal?
Right. They've been blitzing to try to convict him of his crimes, allegedly.
The government, I don't think Spags would need an exotic blitz here. They could just be your general run-of-the-mill, here's our attack. Here's what we're going with. All right. We'll do some sports or leisure on the other side. 913-381-810.
If that guy's your lawyer, you're going to jail. That's my takeaway.
Or you already are.
Allegedly. If that guy's your lawyer, you're not. Hail Mary's not coming down. Just pray instead.
You offer Hail Marys.
Yes.
Full of grace. Lord is with you.
It'd be like the Black Friday Hail Mary. If we all remember the Jets-Dolphins when it was returned for a touchdown, that's the Hail Mary.
That's the Hail Mary. Yep. Right after the Dolphins threw an interception. Tua threw an interception, and then the Jets threw a Hail Mary that was returned for a touchdown. Dolphins got 4 more points than they were trying to get out of a back-to-back interception exchange. That's the Jets. But Hardman gave the Dolphins the playbook. Hey, they're going to throw a Hail Mary here. I want this guy to represent me and just do radio puns if I ever get arrested.
At least he has a talent for that.
He is now off the air.
Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
All right, time for a little sports or leisure on Sports Radio 810 WHB on this Thursday edition, presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 to Johnny's Tavern on the line. If you get a sports question and a leisure question right, you win the prize. Get either of them wrong, you lose. The question is out there available for someone to call in and request. We give out the right answer when it's answered correctly, or we have simply run out of time to play, which we will play a little bit of a shorter game today of sports or leisure. Johnny's Tavern. Appreciate Johnny's Tavern. And I appreciate Mick Schaefer for literally bringing in the pizza. Mick literally brought in the pizza today.
I went and got the pizza for Josh's last day.
Thanks,
That's
Mick.
what happened.
Thank you for paying off Jason's bet today.
Oh, no, not paying off. No, the paying part.
I feel like to pay off the ZOU, you have to do the legwork, too. So I don't think this counts.
I did the legwork. I went online.
This is
I
not
ordered
a ZOU.
it.
This is like, hey, last day, coworker. That's what this is. So I'm still waiting for 2 more ZOUs.
Well, you're going to be waiting a long time. You'll get one more.
No
Josh, we're gonna pay up the one more probably tomorrow.
That's fine. That's okay. I'll come in for more pizza. I love the Nukalouche, man.
Probably next Friday we may.
That's cool. My schedule's opened up recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you got going on right now?
Yeah, speaking of leisure.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Speaking of quitting, wait, nobody was speaking of quitting.
No one's speaking of quitting.
Nobody was speaking of that.
Mick, do you want to have a leisure category today of just like mix? We can call it mix bleep, but you know how it rhymes. It's alliterative. I don't know.
I should have prepared, but I'm like every other day on the show.
How about a mixed bag? If you want to.
Do you have those questions still?
No, they'd be yours now because it's a mix.
You would just have to come up with them on the fly.
Yeah, you can just ask.
I sent 40 mixed bag questions once. I believe it was back in the Corey Anderson days.
I don't think I got that email. I think that probably.
I think he handed them off at one point. I don't know.
May not have had those. But,
Matthew Merriman said he handed them off to you.
That's
on his way out.
God, that's good. I had 3 yards in a cloud of dust. We're not punting here, no sir.
So I've got one category today on the sports side. And it is questions about quitters, guys who left. No, I'm sure.
Who retired at halftime? Who was the Bill? Was it a Bills defensive back?
Not Vernon Davis.
Vontae
Davis. The Colts.
Buffalo Bill.
I thought he was a Colt when he
thought he was
retired
a Bill
at
when he
halftime.
retired.
No, he was a Buffalo Bill. Who were they playing though? It was I think it was Patriots maybe.
Yeah,
I'm on it.
I'm gonna guess Patriots, Jester, or Dolphins. So they were playing that game. That's gonna.
It was the Chargers.
Like I said, I'm gonna guess an AFC West team.
Halftime of the Bills 31-20 loss.
I'm gonna guess a team that has a roof on their stadium.
There you go.
I liked how
in Buffalo.
I liked how on the press conference, Mark Donovan was like, we went to all these stadiums. We went to SoFi and we went to Allegiant, and we looked around and just all of these beautiful things.
They never looked up.
Not one time you didn't look up to the roof. You just stared at the suite in the end zone. That's what caught your eye.
Who was more aghast at an obvious thing? Mark Donovan, the Chiefs, about a roof. What roof? Or like Creed Humphrey about low snaps.
Oh,
wait, what?
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Clark Hunt had to grapple with the idea of a roof last time, so I think that is more recent than Creed Humphrey. I don't know. Creed at that point would have been very, very young. He was probably still learning how to, do stuff.
Yeah. Andy Reid acknowledged it, though, at the Combine when asked about Creed Humphrey's issues. Well, he'll get it figured out. He's a worker. He's
I agree. I don't think it's a big deal to snap it 2 feet higher.
I think you should
just put more.
I think you should move him to tight end. That's just me.
Yeah.
So how many times people are looking for the answer after Kelsey, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's right there the whole time.
Yeah, that was it.
Yep. The whole time.
5 do 15 personnel. Can you even do that?
I mean, not necessarily. We can figure it out.
They all can't be eligible, but you could have 5 tight ends on the field
absolutely.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, if you got 5, if one takes the snap.
Yeah.
And a running back.
So you have your three from this year, Jody Fortson, and they'll draft Brock Bowers, and he falls to 32.
And Creed Humphrey.
And you can put those 5 on.
I get.
So Blake Bell. Sorry, Blake, but Brock Bowers and Jody Fortson are going to be on the field, obviously.
Well, you don't
Kelsey
need
Gray.
Brock Bowers if you've got Creed Humphrey.
I'm greedy. I want the 2 best tight end talents.
One and the same.
You're greedy.
I'm greedy. I'm a little greedy about it. Yeah, I'm a little greedy.
I get it. We've got some Johnny's Pizza here.
We sure do.
Thankfully,
Need a second slice.
to have some food. So you guys can eat while I host the show.
Thanks, Jason.
Congrats,
and Nick.
everybody. That's great. Josh's final hour of his entire life on the air.
It's my final hour of my entire life. Jason will have me executed when I walk out of the air.
Next one, instead of loser buys for everybody, loser has to do the Waffle House challenge? Because I would tank it. I would
you would tank for.
Oh yeah, I would do all the overs for Royals.
But here's the thing:
to see if I can do it.
Why don't you just try to do it on your own? Why do you have to be challenged to do it? Like,
maybe
I really want to do this
because
but I have
really
to
close to that at this point. I know I'll have the shame of that. I don't want to like, what? I made a bet, so I have to do this.
Yeah.
But deep inside, I'm like, I'm going to put a lot of waffles deep inside here.
I was going with that joke once you were done. I was waiting. It was teed up. Like, well, when you're done, there's going to be a lot of waffles deep inside.
I feel like you could at least let Mick barter that down to say, like, hey, do your ZOUs however you want, but where Mick can say, hey, I'm opting out of buying food. I'm opting into the Waffle House challenge.
That's right, yeah.
I feel like you should get unanimous support for that. It certainly has my endorsement, whatever that holds.
Yeah, well, you don't get a vote here, Josh.
Listen, today, right now, technically, I feel like I get
minutes,
some amount.
I guess.
March 1st is when we're doing the voting on whether we're going to do Waffle House.
That's fine. Dylan, carry on my memory and vote in favor of making Mick do the Waffle House thing.
Can I have your chair when you die?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
It's got a back on it, so the Chiefs players are going to be pumped about that.
This would be an upgrade for the Chiefs locker room right now.
Oof, they put the chairs as a back. I mean, Chad got us chairs with backs. Since I've been here, we've had chairs with backs on it.
They've got that $2 million earmarked for armrests next year.
Don't wiggle that one so hard.
Here's the thing. Then they start getting spoiled.
Yeah.
And now they start resting on their laurels. Those guys busted their ass for chairs with backs on them.
Wait, they're going to rest on chairs and laurels?
Yeah, it seems. You got to be. Are those laurels going to be activated? Can you activate those as well? Can you activate those like glutes and fans?
I can't remember the other word that was laurel that people would hear.
Yanni.
Yanni.
Yanni? Is it Yanni?
Are you resting on your laurels or Yannis? Which one? Which you resting on?
Your laurel or your Hardy?
Dude, it is so confusing when Giannis rests on his laurels. I lose my freaking mind.
I hear both. I don't know. I think the dress was gold the whole time, all right, 913-381-0810. My one category is not about quitters. It is about the number 29, because today is the day after 28.
Wow.
Yep. So,
I don't see what's so special about that. Literally every month has 29 days in it.
In 2024.
This year. Yeah.
Literally you were right about that. The number 29.
And you are 29. You're quitting on the 29th?
I'm 29. Dylan's 29. Sterling's 29. We're all quitting.
I'm 29.
Dylan just found out.
In my heart.
Yeah.
My mom used to lie about being 29 until, I don't know, 39 maybe.
Every woman does
at some
that.
point. And that's weird. I don't know. That's weird to me. I'm grappling with my mortality, but not necessarily grappling with turning 30.
If you think about it from the other way, it's like, wow, you look really old for 29, right? You should say you're older than what you are. Like, you look great for 65.
Exactly.
How old are you?
And you're really 48.
59.
Yeah.
59. Would you believe I'm 59?
Yeah.
No, I would not actually. But they say 59 is the new 43.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I feel like just go ahead and embrace that. You can do that forever.
The number 29, the only category I have. What about on the leisure side, Josh?
3 official ones. We have royally relevant, which nobody used any of last week, something pertaining to royal things. We have the pun name game. I've got a few to close out the run on that. And then if we want mixed bag, you can figure out if you want to try to put Mick on blast that way. But this week, the IMDb category is what could an IMDb JB? Where it's a few of my favorite movies and their plot synopses. The ones that are maybe a little off the beaten path.
Look up every Wes Anderson
Definitely 2 Wes Anderson movies on here. I try to give proper context clues, maybe even give you an actor or 2 this time because, these aren't all the Avengers or whatever. So,
are you going to Dune 2 tonight?
I'm not going to Dune 2 tonight. I haven't seen Dune 1. I didn't want to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know.
Are you Beards going to Dune 2?
I'm going to Dune as well.
Nice. You're going to see the first one?
Yep.
I'm going to go see Dune also, yeah.
Right. I'm going to go. Josh, you ready to go?
I'm ready to go!
Yes, you are, actually.
Mick, are you ready to go?
Do I have to do that dumb thing he just did? I'm ready to go.
Now you ask Dylan if he's ready to go.
Hey, Dylan, you ready to go?
He absolutely is. That's exciting,
Let's
Dylan.
go!
All right, to the phone lines.
Can
we
I have
go.
some more pizza now? Or
No,
what's
you can't.
that? Okay.
The rest
What are
is
you
for
gonna do,
me.
fire me?
Yes, actually. Yes. People were asking me if you
I'd
got
like
fired.
that. I think would be preferable.
You're going through, producers like Sean McDermott, coordinators, maybe?
The thing that really had me lose my faith in Jason was he was talking to us about the power of team building. And
I always thought I was easy to work with. Turns out nobody wants to work with me. I should be more tough on you guys.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thanks for the pizza, man. I appreciate it.
Dylan, get your bleep together now!
Anytime.
If you would have brought in pizza every day, I mean, who knows?
Oh, he's due for it. He just...
You wouldn't pay up your ZOU's bet, so I'm out. Sean leads us off on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sean, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Man, how's it going, fellas? How you doing?
We are
delicious.
We're doing. He's doing delicious, apparently.
Yeah, I'm delicious.
Okay, I don't know who delicious is, but Josh is fine.
Hey, I got one for you.
Yes.
That's not how the game works.
Chief Sahalis tried to run through the line at the bank, but couldn't secure the ball and fumbled his whole life.
Matthew Merriman. That would make him look bad, though. So you don't want to do that. You got to make him look good.
He did try to burst through the line at the bank. I think there's something there. We can workshop that.
Does he work out of the shotgun?
No, the pistol.
Anyway, I'll go with sports to start off.
All right, the number 29 is your only choice here. The number 5 pick in the draft. He played 9 years for the Chiefs, making 5 Pro Bowls and 3 All-Pro teams, contributing on defense day to day throughout his career. I like that one, huh?
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
No horsing around with this
No
guy.
way you would do that.
He's not going to horse around.
9 years, huh?
Yep, 9 of them. 5 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pros. Number 5 pick in the draft. Contributing on defense.
I love the New Galouche pizza so much.
Day to day.
You know the category, right?
Number 29.
Number 29. Well, I got two names in my head.
Only one of them's right.
Well, unless one's a first name and the other's a last name.
That's right.
I guess that's true.
Could be. Go ahead and throw one of them out there. One of the names.
Yeah.
Either Albert Lewis or it's Barry, Eric Barry. Probably one of those two.
Yep, probably one of those two.
Probably.
Probably the one who wore 29.
Well, they both did. So.
Fifth rounder.
What do you say? Throw it out. Time's out. Gotta
Let's
go.
go Albert Lewis. Albert Lewis.
Albert Lewis is incorrect. Dang it, Sean. Sean, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. I didn't even want to say bye to you.
I get it.
Avery next up on Sports Radio 810.
Oh, come on, Avery.
Way to not give it to somebody.
Come on, Avery.
Yeah, you know what, Avery, you don't get that question. Avery, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
SEC Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
3P. Eric Berry.
Yay, scary.
Kind of scary.
All right, what do you want? Do you want sports or leisure?
Let's start with leisure.
Okay.
Yeah, what category would you like?
Wouldn't it be fun, Josh, if you stumped me on your last day?
It sure would.
Have you ever stumped him?
Oh, yeah, every once in a while, but it's not going to happen today. I can feel it. I was nice because I forgot he'd be playing.
I'll do the Royals Review category that nobody picked last week.
All right. How about this, punk? Back in 2012, Childish Gambino released a mixtape called Royalty, preceding his full-length hit Because the Internet. But Childish Gambino's an actor, writer, producer, and much more under his given name. What is it?
Oh, Donald Glover?
There we go. I got to ask a question I wanted to ask. You get $25 to Johnny's. We end on a good note.
We hadn't done sports yet.
Sorry, on the sports side.
On the sports side.
Over
Avery.
to the Eric Berry side.
He got it right, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, he sure did. He sure
you know
did.
What? Like, it is called Everybody Wins, but you got to obey the rules.
This is a cleanup hitter right here. He shows up with the bases loaded, and
he followed up the layup with another layup there. Got the rebound, laid it in. There's no defense. It's fine.
Avery will put you on hold. Congratulations.
You don't want me to answer any quiz questions or, Swing dogs?
No, I want you to shut up, Avery. That's what I want you to do. I want you to shut your ass up.
Answers,
You
your
shut
gift
up.
card.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
This is how you should treat the callers on a regular basis, Jason, okay?
Shut your
I
mouth.
like this. I like it.
I'll see you in hell.
Hopefully this show is a little Kendall Fuller without me.
All right, well, I'm now just hanging up on him.
Pretty good.
Stupider. Let's go to Craig. The guy just got like number 29 in front of him. Let's go to Craig next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Craig, sports or leisure?
Hey, Josh, hate to see you leave.
Oh, you're the one.
But you love to watch me walk away.
Yes.
Yeah,
he must work out.
Yeah, oh gosh. No, I've been hired, fired, and rehired while you were on the air. So it's
this morning, actually.
Just today. Just listening to it live at 10. It's been a hell of a week.
It was today.
Still found time for a phone call.
So if you want to give me a Fight Club question, and no, we'll just I'll do sports.
All right.
You got some regulars on this show, don't you?
Let's go with let's go with this one. This defensive back wore two different numbers for the Chiefs, including number 29. His last snap in a Chiefs uniform was an interception to seal one of the Chiefs' 4 Super Bowls.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes we give a hint every time.
Mick might not make it to 2 o'clock.
Wait, what?
Don't worry about it. Just keep thinking.
Yep, just think
Avery.
of... well, I'm just saying, it doesn't have to do with somebody named Avery as the
I
answer.
think Donnie
it just has
Avery
to do
wore
with somebody
19.
named Avery that was giving hints. But regardless, this guy wore number 29, and his last snap in a Chiefs uniform was an interception in one of the Chiefs' 4 Super Bowls to seal the victory.
There was no defensive snap after that, was there? Was the last play that
was the bomb down the
incompletion?
Yep, throwing it down the field.
Oh my goodness.
What say you, Craig?
Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson
is correct.
When I give you the ball
No
in the
way.
corner, shoot the ball.
No,
it is
I
not.
just
Point guard for the
Yep, I know, and it was
point guard
wrong.
for the Spurs
It was
or
wrong.
quarterback for Kansas State?
Yes,
Yeah.
both.
Neither were number 29.
So when
Both
people,
of them were wrong.
When people call in, they should know that there's an answer they have to give, right? Or
Typically.
Okay.
Let's go to Charles next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Charles, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with, sir?
Let's do some leisure.
What category?
Can you run through them?
Yeah, we have royally relevant, what can it, IMDb JB, movies that I like, the pun name game, or you can try to ask Mick to come up with something, but it might be hard. I don't know.
Oh, it will be hard.
Let's do the royal thing.
In May 2023, the United Kingdom crowned a new monarch, officially making him King what?
United Kingdom?
Yeah, who's the king?
LeBron. What?
He's the king of America, Jason. I mean, the king of United Kingdom.
I see.
It's a technicality.
I see.
Can you run through the question one more time?
Yep. In May 2023, the United Kingdom crowned a new monarch, officially making him king what? Just his full name as the king. The first word is king.
May of 23.
Yeah, just this last one that just happened. It hadn't happened for like 75 years before that, so just the most recent one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Elizabeth was there for a long time.
Mom ruled for a while.
Yeah. Seems
King
like
Charles III, is that right?
that's exactly right.
Yeah, the third.
Seems
I
like
did the
seems
third
like he may
part,
have maybe a shorter stint. Seems like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. On to the sports side. Here's your question. Well, we got one out there already about a Chiefs defensive back that wore number 29. We also have a lot of fresh 29s. What do you say? Huh? Want a fresh one? Want that one?
Oh, gosh. I don't know what to do.
How many people do?
Yeah, let's try the 29 thing.
The one that's already out there? Or a fresh
Right.
one? Okay.
So the one that's already out there.
This defensive back wore two different numbers for the Chiefs, including number 29. His last snap in a Chiefs uniform was an interception to seal one of the Chiefs' 4 Super Bowls.
I'm getting full.
I'm getting fuller than you. You know who loves pizza?
I thought Gammon came in on Thursdays.
Kendall loves pizza.
We talking modern era, 29?
Pretty much.
Very modern.
Yep.
You guys' hints have been stiffer than a Ken doll.
Just trying to think of a Barbie pun, but
Yeah, that's the only one I had.
Couldn't go with it.
When Mr. Smith went to Washington,
I wish somebody would.
This guy was involved, right?
Be a commander of this question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He was absolutely involved. Yeah, that's right. Yep. No, he was. It was an exchange that took place.
If I knew his middle name, I'd give that hint too.
Defensive back.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up his middle name just for S's and G's.
For K's and F's?
Mm-hmm. Christopher.
Mick, I've never told you this, but you're like a brother to me.
Legarius.
Legarius is not correct. Charles, thank you for playing. I appreciate it. 913-381-810. Andrew next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Andrew, Sports or Leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Did I have that Kendall Fuller question?
Yes! Oh!
That was so many hints.
Can you believe that was still there for you? That was on the board for so long.
Oh, my side hurts.
I didn't think it was possible.
The pizza or just...
No, it's the pizza. We eat a lot of pizza. Very, very good. Very good. Very good. On to Leisure with Joshua.
Just put me out of my misery. Pick category.
No,
Kendall Fuller.
Nobody's going to do that.
You know what?
We've got to do the IMDb JB.
Thank you for doing that. A scheming raccoon fools a mismatched family of forest creatures into helping him repay a debt of food by invading the new suburban sprawl that popped up while they were hibernating, and learns a lesson about family himself.
God, that's one of your favorite movies.
Good
This
night.
is the funny. I'm realizing now I'm not going to have as many chances to rip through the dozen of these I did.
Gosh.
So you chose your favorite movie of all time?
So I chose the funniest one.
Oh.
The one that I thought would be the funniest to read that would make you guys the most mad.
Nailed it.
Mission accomplished. Wow. DreamWorks animated movie. It's not a docuseries or anything.
Yeah.
I watched it because I had kids. That's the
Yeah.
only reason.
Bruce Willis plays the raccoon.
There's a raccoon?
There is. That was the third word of my clue, but I understand we're not really in a very good clue listening headspace right now because we said the answer to the last one was Kendall Fuller 30 minutes ago.
Oh man. I kind of know this. God, I've never seen it, but I know it's like. Oh.
You talk through it before it's an official guess. Listen, you know who Kendall Fuller was? I want to give you $50 to Johnny's.
Would his answer put him over the top?
I think so. Yeah, I think it would be. You can hedge your bets if you want, but I think just go ahead and take a shot.
Over the top. Oh, over the hedge.
Yeah, nice job. Well done. All
I
right.
love somebody who can listen and think at the same time.
Right. Well done. Well done.
There's like 5 of them out there.
Yes.
Go to Johnny.
Still learning. I'm going to get there one day. Andrew, well done. We'll put you on hold, get your information. Congratulations, sir. Oh, sorry. Congratulations, sir.
It worked out.
Good. All good. Excellent.
Turns out we're as
Excellent.
bad as the callers.
Thank you. You're an American hero.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We've got one more quick segment of Sports or Leisure, and we'll continue rolling more zone next. Johnny's Tavern, $25 at Johnny's Tavern, sports or leisure. But you got to get a sports and leisure question right. People get confused by that.
Should change the name.
Never going to. Never going to.
Well,
Never.
no, to everybody wins. Everybody wins.
Everybody who's listening wins.
Sports and or leisure.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody who's listening wins.
It should be called like, get it right or close to right, or just take our hints and sure, you can win.
But you have evidence today that not everybody wins because not everybody can listen. So there's some differentiation.
It's really hard not to win.
No, I agree with.
It's
again.
an achievement.
It's
It's like when I go 0-9 on my bets.
Mick, it's
for
like
a college football Saturday. I'm like, that's just as tough as going 9-0.
I should win all my money back.
You should.
Mick, it's like the salary cap where like almost everybody wins and theoretically everybody could win, but
I
not
have
everybody
a great
does.
metaphor on that, okay? Hear me out.
913-388-1087.
Let's go to Ryan next up on sports or leisure. Ryan, what side do you want to start with? Sports side, which is just the category of number 29, or leisure?
Hey, guys, from the OG I Love Lebo caller.
Nice.
I love Brisco.
Yeah!
Oh, man. So you're the one.
Glad we talked over it.
You're
Glad
the
we
one.
talked over it. There was not a clean edit of that.
We'll still cut it.
So
Dylan, can you do that tomorrow? I won't be here.
We are going to cut that from the podcast.
That
Yes,
makes
we will
sense.
Cut it.
Yeah, that's fair.
He can maybe say it again when his answer when we're shutting up.
No.
Okay.
You can't be a sports or leisure without having a pun name game. On
Thank
Joshua
you.
Wednesday.
It's the best
Thank you,
category.
Here's the
Thank
thing.
you.
Here's the thing, Ryan. You are asking for the pun name game with Mick Schaefer right here, who is
Basically brought it to town.
the king of the pun name game or the pun game because he'll do it with his family 8 or 9 or 10 different answers deep.
we'll
So
go
if you
deep,
don't
yeah.
get this right, Mick is going to jump through the phone and strangle you. Just
This
as a heads
one-
up, Ryan. I want to give you a heads up.
No,
This
I
one
can't
is-
jump through the phone. I'll find your house though. I'll find you.
Hey, Nate likes to fight. Maybe he'll fight Mick for me.
I don't like to fight. I'm bringing guys with me too. So
This one's been percolating for a long time, and I think it's only fitting that it comes out on the last day here for me. This former chief was a fan favorite for a limited time, but has truly seen his legacy maintained by Jason here in Sports or Leisure. And thanks to this Coen Brothers movie, where 3 escaped convicts search for hidden treasure while relentlessly pursued by a lawman in the Deep South in the 1930s.
Holy crap. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm thinking Bobby Scipio somehow.
Seems like you might be on an okay track there.
Wow.
Bobby Scipio, oh brother, where art thou?
I'm going to need you to tighten that up, Mix, here. I'm going to need you to just tighten up. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm going to need you to type it up an O.
Bobby Scipio, oh brother, where art thou?
Yes!
Nice job. Well done.
Absolutely correct. Ding, ding.
Well done, Ryan.
that's a weak one. I'm sorry.
Whoa,
You
what?
share one letter. I'm sorry.
Told you.
His
shared
name is
one
Scipio.
letter.
Brother, where
No,
art
yeah,
thou? It's all
yeah,
there.
it's
It
one-
all works.
it's one letter.
meta,
Yeah.
Mick. It's the most repeated trivia name in
that was
sports
a
leisure
hell
history.
of a pull on his part, by the way.
was really good with the
I
Bobby
didn't know
Scipio.
the Scipio.
I didn't either.
I'm like, I have to get the movie.
Yeah.
Now, Jason, you didn't know where I said seen his legacy maintained by Jason here in Sports or Leisure.
Oh,
You
I
didn't get to
I didn't
Bobby
get to Bobby
Scipio?
Scipio.
Okay.
No, I
It's
didn't.
the only person that he asked questions
Oh, I
about who
know.
doesn't wear number 29.
Yes, that's right. If you don't wear, and Bobby Scipio actually
What
wore
was he, like
29 once.
89?
This person did not wear number 29.
I've
Bobby
got-
Scipio.
I've got
Damn
other
it!
pun name
How
names
did you
that
get
we
that
didn't
right?
That was he was the yin to the yang we've been seeing today. That was a smart color there. Well
Yeah,
done.
that's right.
work.
Well, he's not done.
Answer
Oh, that's
them.
right.
So
He's
still got
sports
Wait, I
and
thought it was
leisure.
sports or leisure, guys.
I hate you. The power of 1,000 suns. Do you want a baseball or a football 29?
Hey, can we get Mick involved? Mick, throw me a golf question.
Whoa. Whoa. He's calling you out, Mick.
Do I hook or slice?
This is up to Jason. No, this is on the sports side.
I don't know.
how
I
this
don't really
works.
like it. I don't want him showing up and then stealing. You know, I worked so hard on these 29.
You should come back every Thursday for a while and do the leisure questions.
Yeah, you should do this totally for Thursdays for
sounds
a
fun.
few weeks.
Yeah.
Minimum.
No, nobody's gonna be here.
Are
I
you
have
gonna,
no idea. I'll find out.
Are you going to have a golf question here?
I don't
or
think I
just
can
need-
pull
Okay, so
one.
you got to go.
Sorry.
You got to go 29.
All
Sorry.
right,
Not a
football,
good one anyway.
Football or baseball, number 29.
Oh, football.
All right. Oh, football.
This
Where art
golfer
thou?
who shares a name with a jungle cat.
All right. Drafted out of Texas
Leopard
A&M
Nicholson.
in the first round, he was the speed back to Marcus Allen. He platooned with Marcus Allen almost his entire tenure with the Chiefs until his final year when he replaced Marcus as the starter, played 2 more years in the league, 1 in St. Louis, and his last year in Detroit trying to fill the void vacated by surprising retirement of Barry Sanders. First round running back out of Texas A&M, we're number 29.
I love Brisco, Greg Hill.
Nice job.
Let's
Sorry, that's actually incorrect. We were just looking for Greg Hill.
Just Greg Hill?
Yeah, the I love Brisco
Cut it, Dylan!
was an eliminating
Cut it!
answer.
You
Sorry
get 2
about
gift
that.
cards at Johnny's.
Yeah.
It's my rule.
There's a Gleam. Wasn't that about Greg Hill? There's a Gleam men, the Marty Schottenheimer.
I'm going to take your word for it.
That was in the intro to this show for years.
Yeah.
Is there a Gleam?
Well, that audio was in the intro of this show, and you don't know what it's based off
Yeah,
of?
you just turned your head like, oh, I've never heard this in my life.
I know what There's a Gleam is. I didn't know who it was about. Though.
Okay, I don't either.
I thought the How About Those Red Pants was about Greg Hill. I'm joking. Ryan will put you on the hold. Congratulations.
Brisco will miss you, buddy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
That makes one of us.
Found the one.
Nice to know that there's at least 2 people.
Brad next up on Sports Radio 810. Brad, sports or leisure?
Can I just say, Josh, we're going to miss you, and props to the Zone for moving on from Josh a year too early rather than too late.
That's really good. That's really
following
good.
the Chiefs model. Let's go leisure. What were the categories again?
We got the pun name game, we got the royally relevant, and IMDb JB of just movies that I like.
Let's go pun name game, I guess.
I think we should.
By the way, Marty told the Browns there's a Gleam, so it was not about Greg Hill.
Okay, there
unless
we
he
go.
forecasted years in advance.
That's good to know. Hey, Greg Hill, there's a gleam.
This kid's he's in high school right now, but he's going to go to Texas A&M. I'm going to draft him, not with you guys, from another team. There's a gleam in his eyes.
Here's your pun name game. I personally love this actor's performance in several Wes Anderson movies and as Salvador Dali in Midnight in Paris, but he's probably best known for his role in The Pianist or as the Chiefs quarterback of the future after being drafted in the 3rd round out of Alabama.
3rd round out of Alabama.
Quarterback of the future.
They're the guy that had the very attractive girlfriend that...
Yep. Sweet Tay, she kept saying. I got Sweet Tay.
That's right. Did you get your hunting DVDs?
By the way, he could have been this guy. If he would have won a game, Patrick Mahomes would not have broken that streak, but I believe he was 0-10.
If he'd have won a game, there was no reason to draft Patrick Mahomes.
That's right.
I mean,
just one game. If he would have gone 1-9.
Yep.
Well, I can't think of the quarterback's name, and I'm lost on the movie, so...
well,
yeah, I don't even...
Brad, thank you for playing.
It's kind of loud.
You listen to me. We're gonna move on.
That was rude.
We're gonna move on from you one question too early instead of one question too late. Thanks, Brad.
You bet.
Nice. Well done. Last lead to play on Sports or Leisure today. It is James. All right, James. Sports or Leisure. What side do you want to start with?
Leisure.
We got that pun name game that's out there, or the royal question category, or the IMDb category.
IMDb.
A successful lawman's plans to retire anonymously in Arizona are disrupted by the kind of outlaws he was famous for eliminating.
It was actually Jesus.
Is that for me, Mick?
Uh-huh.
Because you don't know it?
Say that again.
Read a book.
I thought it was movies.
A successful lawman's plans to retire anonymously in Arizona are disrupted by the kind of outlaws he was famous for eliminating.
Okay, now I know.
Come on, Mick.
I was thinking Lethal Weapon.
This movie's older than me.
The book was better.
This isn't a niche. This isn't some niche.
Guessed.
Yeah, I was ignoring it because it was wrong.
It's along those lines, though.
I mean,
who was in it?
It came out in '94, I believe.
Oh, really?
But it's that same genre.
Yeah. Nope.
Was Adrian Brody in
Oh.
it?
He was not.
Oh.
He was not.
Was his nose in it?
It was not.
Okay.
He was not.
Oh.
Yeah, 4 years
Gotta
ago.
be. Yeah.
What would this pizza is better
Did he
than
smell
frozen
it?
pizza?
Yeah, this is
a certain kind of
exactly
frozen
right.
pizza.
Better than frozen pizza. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This pizza's better than a certain kind of frozen pizza.
God, I hate to end your tenure on.
No, that's all right.
No, it's actually better.
No, it's fine. This is the best way for it to end. And then whenever they try to mark my grave with something after I leave today, you'll have your call to remember it by.
Yes.
Since I'll be radio dead.
But
like 20.
Oh, what was it called?
15 to 2024. Josh.
Give me
Brisco.
a hint real fast.
Give you one?
Last caller. Just give me the title.
When he's radio.
Just give me the title.
When he's radio dead, he'll have one of these in his cemetery.
This is right. Yes.
That's the hint.
There's
When
your
he's
hint.
radio dead, he'll have one of these in his cemetery.
I don't know. In fact, I don't really care.
At this point, we've taken his will.
Yeah, you
James,
take all my pride.
James, thank you for playing. I appreciate it.
Hey, right off to the sunset, Josh. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. I
like Doc Holliday, right off into the sunset.
Just like Doc Holliday.
Listen, James, you're my Huckleberry.
Oh, you're no Huckleberry at all. So the movie was Shootout at the OK Corral.
We were looking for Tombstone there, ideally.
Well, I got Johnny's Tavern.
Earp.
I got Johnny's Tavern. So
Yeah,
I don't need the Tombstone. pizza.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
Would have been right there. I don't think he's in it.
Is he not? Any questions we did not get answers to?
Adrian Brody Croyle, I felt pretty good about, and
That's a good one. It's better than the Scipio, brother.
That one's been in the doc for like 6 months because I had to do it not in the weeks we did back-to-back Bobby Scipio questions.
The one question I did not get an answer to is that oh no, we got Greg Hill. That's right. Then everything was answered. Eric Berry, Kendall Fuller, Greg Hill. Yeah, we only had 3 answers on the sports side.
There was a lot of tripping and falling over the same question
we
earlier.
only have 3 winners today. All right, cool. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and we will
cry.
No, we'll just say goodbye.
Yeah, that's fine. I can leave now if you guys want.
Oh, thank God.
I hate goodbyes. then I use it to buy either a current parking pass or a T-shirt from Justin Reed.
I've only bought one of those.
2 years worth of time. You got
have you got it yet?
I did.
Okay.
I
You
do
finally
have.
got it.
I have my Spags We Trust shirt.
When
yes.
did it come in?
Shortly after the parade, I think, or like the day or day after, I think, somewhere in there. So, a little late, but we got it.
You were off those days, though.
I was sick those next couple. Yeah,
you were off.
Well, okay. I remember that stretch a little differently, but there's a lot going on. It was tough. We had a tough go.
There's a lot going on. All right, so this is Josh's last segment on the air.
Oh, damn.
Ever.
Sure is.
Not just on this show.
Are you going to cuss?
I thought about it. I thought about it a couple of times.
Well, have you thought about what your... It's going to be bye, Mom, right? Be your last words?
That's typically my last words, but if I said bye, Mom, and then picked the nastiest curse word I could think of, I think my mom would think it was pretty funny.
I bet so.
What if he's getting ready to sign off and we start talking over him?
I'm used to it.
Or as he's getting ready to sign off, Dylan just throws it to break.
That's also all fine,
Yes.
I think. I'll hop on for the first 2 minutes of the program.
My phone goes off.
Sorry, guys.
Actually, you'll start beeping, Josh.
Yeah, I definitely could. I think I'm good on carbs.
We need one more beep before the show's over. Come on.
Are you going to find a job that doesn't kill you like this one?
It's going to be hard to say for sure.
All right, let's hear a little bit of Josh throughout the few weeks that he's been on the show. Here we go.
That seems short.
What was the best for you, Josh?
So yesterday was Renee's birthday, and it was just great to get to spend an entire day, kind of celebrating the thing in this world that I think brings me more joy than anything else. Something I talk about all the time, that I love daily, that I think about every waking moment. The Red Zone Channel's back, baby! The Red Zone Channel is back! It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Back again yesterday. Man, that was sweet.
Happy for you guys.
My phone's ringing. Acknowledging right off the jump that I'm fading dick in a contrarian way, you gotta put your nipples where your mouth is. and hooks is like little feet, and then one on top holding it in. You can just slide it in and out.
Whoa, nice.
Your day can only get worse from there.
Yeah, man.
You sure you want to play this game and talk to us? You got a softie from Lebo.
It's definitely on you. Oh, you're just a constant disappointment. I just want you to know that.
Sound like my parents. I saw you tweet about some of the food and some things about El Polo. Good God, that's sorry. I've got no Beards. Please don't cut that. No, it's the least cultured I've ever sounded. No, I can roll my L's. Let me roll my L's. Let me say pollo. Hope you had some time to catch your breath. Excuse me. Well, that's gonna get in the cuts. That's the internal monologue. You're doing math. I'm doing puns. Take that, Cynthia. I'm a math boy now.
Some deep lunges.
Yeah, it won't be distracting at all.
And back up. That's right.
Won't be distracting at all.
That booty pop. Hey, I'm Mick Schaefer. I was in the lake this weekend. Bah. I don't like fish. Hey, Mick.
So, not even like shrimp or anything?
Not like shrimp and none of that.
Interesting. Like
I hate
scallops.
my family. Fish. I'm Mick Schaefer.
Like mussels or anything?
Jason, all I want to do is spend the day in your clothes. Would you like some of my nuts, Lebo? I'm feeling it in my butt a little. My nipples are freezing right now, but the rest of me is toasty. In the first ever MLB draft lottery, the Pittsburgh Steelers won the #1 overall pick.
Did they?
Rudy's beaten it, as has Renee. Bung, 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 bung. I'm shocked that I'm the highest of the group. Whoa.
Well.
Dip him in once, flip him over, dip him in again. I don't know.
Oh, a double dip?
I would double dip the baby.
I was just kind of planning on working the event. I was thinking I'd show up in like a waiter outfit, and then not actually working it, but like sort of a James Bond type of way of sneaking into a party. Grab a serving tray, sneak around, tear off my fake mustache, and then just pretend I belong.
No, you'll be Daniel LaRussa in Karate Kid. You'll have the spaghetti spilled all over you and everything. You'll show up, you'll try to get away, and then somebody will kick your butt. And then you'll star in Cobra Kai later on.
Maybe this is the time to sort of float out the idea of me needing to just keep a running list of all of the movies that you referenced that I haven't seen, and then I need to watch them and then report back on them on the show at some point.
Really?
Do you want me to write down Karate Kid? I've seen the Jaden Smith one. You mean the Jaden Smith one?
Beards, what's your sleep paralysis demon look like? Mine looks like Jason.
What do you mean you haven't seen that movie?
if you need a little hump day help.
I'm not mad. Don't tweet that I'm mad. Look, I'm on Twitter too much to ever not be at least a little bit plagiarizing from Twitter, which is not a brag. It's a cry for help. Sometimes when my eyes are glazed over, it means I'm not paying attention, and more often it means I'm really working on a barbecue pun. We don't want you going up and jangling around your jimmies in somebody else's face because we think that's bad sportsmanship. Speaking of football porn, we have what can only be described as a catastrophe. South Carolina's live rooster mascot will now be known as the General. Lebo made us sit on it, so check your bags. Make sure you've declared your sausage. That's my lesson of the week. I'm going to get to this point, and then I'm going to stop.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. But sometimes our analogies and our references are just going to be on different levels. I played a lot of Mario sports video games while Jason was, I don't know, presumably making friends or something. Hey, do you want to, mind if I put you on my torso later? Look, you locked it on the butt, and that's what you're good for, right? You're good at that. And
typically.
I don't know what else to tell you. But you know what? I love it. I'm built different. It's for the love of the game. And the game is eating fried chicken. Yeah, for me, it's about the love of the game, and the game is showing off my chest hair. This is behind the curtain. We are parting the buns right now. Jason, all I want to do is spend the day in your clothes. Thinking about finishing your bachelor's degree? Take a bold step forward during the University of St. Mary virtual info session in 600 career plate appearances. On the other side of the break, we'll begin to move ever closer to Chiefs press conferences. This is what happens when you don't write out your entire sports center. Sometimes this show feels like giving birth. I have to imagine it's at least as painful. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to progressively make this show a little more unlistenable every day, which is a pretty tall task. Sometimes I have thoughts for the first time that occurred during the show. Usually I don't have any thoughts during the show whatsoever, so this is a real change of pace. We might become, in a number of ways, the densest show in America. Like, I'm casting a spell! Don't change the dial if this isn't your thing! I banged a paragraph.
We need to check and make sure that your fingernails are clean, because if they're not, here comes the ruler.
Wrap across the knuckles.
That's exactly right. That's what we do.
I guess I better go get my fingernails dirty.
It's hot out here. My knee pits are sweating. I'd love a little breeze on them.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking about the Espinachos again.
They have squeezed themselves in other... You can mark that if you want.
How bright is your future?
Not that bright, Jason, but I am wearing Mick Schaefer sunglasses anyway. Choo-choo, mother bleeper.
Wow.
All right.
What you know, that's one clip. That was one 5-minute
beautiful
segment.
show. It's been a blast, fellas. Love you guys. Thank you for letting me be here in the zone. Bye, Mom.